Perhapsily. That's a fucking good word.
Perhapsily.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Perhapsily.
This is the Imperial Scrolls of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we are going to be bullshitting about the formative years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. We are occasionally retro video game podcasting our way to and through GamePro issue 20 today. Link to the issues in the show notes, as it always is. Please rate and review the podcast. If you post it, we'll read it here. Give us validation and self-worth, or ridicule us as long as it's funny. Jay, it's been a long time. What have you been jamming on?
Surprisingly, not that much, man. Honestly, so playing a lot of college football 25. Definitely so much of that. I do two modes mainly. First is my Dynasty. So I've been in a Dynasty with a bunch of guys, and I just finished my first season.
Say with a bunch of guys, so you're multi-Dynasty?
What's that?
You say with a bunch of guys, that mean multi-Dynasty? Like multiplayer Dynasty?
Yeah, multiplayer.
Oh, man, that sounds like... So like turn-based? Like I can't even admit, like trying to picture how that works stresses me out.
No, I mean, so like if you think about it, each person, so the rules were that you had to pick a team that was like 3-star or less. I forget, it was like 80, rated 80 or below. And so you're like from the Sun Belt on the MAC. Like I chose woeful Miami of Ohio. I was like, all right, let's go MAC and see what happens. But I actually jumped in on the second season of the Dynasty because they'd started a season before me, and I was like too busy to jump into it. And so like I'm obviously behind the curve a bit, but like essentially everybody is the coach of one school. Like you pick a school and you're the coach of that school. So you have to recruit for that school. You have a certain amount of like recruiting hours each week. There's like 4 weeks of the preseason. And so to be like, hey, you guys have until this time tomorrow to like make it changes, and I'm advancing to the next week of the preseason. So you're just like doing recruiting. You're like checking out your recruiting board, seeing what you need, seeing, where you're spending your points and trying to influence and scout. And so you do that. And once you get to those few weeks of the preseason, then
how do they, because you're recruiting from the same pool of recruits, obviously. So what are the metrics of,
oh my gosh,
there's
so much to it. So it like depending on what style of coach you chose and like how much you've played, you can choose to have like more recruiting points. So you have higher influence or more hours, which I didn't even know was possible, but more hours you can put in, which would be great because you can do more and have higher influence. I have, because I'm in Ohio, like my main pipeline is Ohio. So if you're an Ohio player, I have much more influence. If you're like Indiana, I have like level 2 influence. And then like, a state farther, there's like level
regional
3
metrics
influence.
And then just kind of like a player development statistic.
Yep. And once as you win games, like you can add more and choose to get better.
Are you playing the games or is it just coach mode?
No, you're playing the games. So that's the thing too. Like you're managing all your recruits and like where you're getting offers and scouting them, and then identifying, gem players and diamonds in the rough versus like players who are likely to be bust based on what they're rated. And then you get into the weeks, and then during those weeks, you're just playing games. Like you're playing that team's season. So like I'm Miami of Ohio, I'm playing like Florida first week, and then like another big school, Ohio State the second week kind of thing. But like,
did Ohio State kick the shit out of you?
I mean, I actually didn't play Ohio State, but I can't remember who I played, but everybody kicked the shit out of me. I ended the season with like 3 wins. There's definitely a couple games
that's realistic. That's good.
I threw like 30 interceptions. You can't win that way. You can't win. Passing is very hard to do accurately. And I probably played against, maybe 4 or 5 users, maybe 4 users of the weeks. So it was good. You just like reach out and schedule through Discord, like, hey, what time are you available to play the game? And you play it. Otherwise, you play your computer opponent and then try to recruit, otherwise during that week. And I unfortunately didn't even make a bowl game. That sucks, but I still decided to move up to
so are
the
they,
Big Ten.
do they do the weeks on like a actual calendar week, or do they try to speed it along faster?
I think he started that way, but it definitely sped up after that. Halfway through season is like, all right, is everybody like he'll check and be like, hey, you guys are the only people that haven't played. Can you play your game? I'll just go ahead and speed it up. So it's pretty fluid. Pretty fluid.
Yeah, that sounds. I'd probably enjoy that.
Yeah,
that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like you get the whole scope of it. So I'm excited to now that I know more about who to go after. Like, because I ended up so many recruiting battles as the number 2 school. So I was like, damn it. Like I definitely influence, I put some points in coach's influence when I was setting it up, but I know I could like do better next time.
So, and it's a finite, clearly you said hours and stuff. So it's a finite pool. So if you fall short of getting the thing you're after, it's just for naught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them, like you can, like there is a point which you can get those hours back. I think if you put hours in and then they lock you out before you get like top 5 schools, before they choose their top 5 schools or something. There's some kind of measure below that which you'll get those hours back, but afterwards you just don't. Like you did all you could. You ended up number 2 or number 3 on the list. They verbally committed to somebody else. Sorry, let's see who else is out there looking to transfer or declare for the next year,
Rough. Sounds rough.
Yeah,
I was
definitely so salty.
I'm sitting here thinking of it in my mind. I'm equating it to building wonders in multiplayer for Civ. So, like, you put all this time and production into a wonder, and then if you fall one turn short of the other person building at the same time, you're just. I mean, you can use like half of it to build something else, but you don't give a fuck about that if you were trying to get the pyramids. Yep. That's it. Yeah, it's like, oh my god. Yeah.
Yes, I was salty. So
a lot of emotional weight to that. Those fucking.
Yeah, but also, like I said,
events.
Like, I need to try passing less, or I need to just get much better at passing because the level of interceptions.
I feel like that was the thing I saw most immediately when it came out was like
so much
passing's a bitch.
So much. It's like if they call the wrong defense, then okay, but if they're keying on you doing the same play, you better find something else. You better get that run game going because it can be rough, man. But it's still a blast to play. Still a blast. Like I also, in addition to the Dynasty, I also started playing Road to the College Football Playoff, and so you just pick any team that you want. And they have tiers, like 5 different tiers based on the team's actual skill. And so it matches you up with players of that same tier and you just play. And I guess like the more you win, like the top couple get into the playoff at the end. And so my first season I did well, but it was like the lowest rating. And so like I lost like 3 games, but like I was too low. You had to only lost like 2 at least to get up in there. But it promoted me to like the next level, like freshman level. And then, like, it's a much tougher bracket. I'm, like, 3-3 right now. The last game, Ohio State. I'm Ohio State, of course. I'm playing against Oregon. With 0 seconds left on the clock, I scored a touchdown to win the game by 2 points. So that makes me even for the season. I'm definitely not making the college football playoff. But it's fun to just kind of get matched with other players, and kind of just with less restrictions than are available in a dynasty when I'm playing freaking Miami. Because Ohio State's far better, so it's I feel much more free. So it's kind of a fun balance to play both modes at the same time, Okay. So been loving playing that game. That's been taking up a lot of time. It's funny. I will be playing some freaking Call of Duty Black Ops since that just came out. I just downloaded that, so that's coming next. I want to check out the new Zombies mode specifically. I heard it's different. But, like, it's crazy. I did turn it on this morning. And the graphics were fucking crazy. Like, I don't know how they just keep getting better. I just like, all right, I'm excited to actually play that once I get into it. But okay. I did turn on and dust off the VR headset the other day. And Courtney and I were getting ready to play. We ended up walking through the freaking, like, Horizon worlds and doing some random stuff together. But okay. I misunderstood what a little random icon was showing me. There was, like, a little notification with like a little shape icon, and I just kind of clicked on it like what is this? And it just launched Mother Gunship Forge because I guess there was an update, and it was just telling me that it had been updated. And so I just started playing a couple rounds of that, and I was like, I forgot how dope this game is. Like yes, once you get used to it, like it's just kind of repetitive, but it was really fun jumping in again and like just picking up the weapons and deciding what I was going to do.
Which Horizon world did you go into?
Oh my gosh. We ended up we tried to go into like a comedy show one.
The comedy one.
It was a theater where they were doing the Hot Ones. And like Tom Holland was like on Hot Ones. So we were just like kind of hanging out there for a second. And then, we were just kind of walking around, just kind of testing out.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
It is so weird.
So weird. Were there kids fucking buzzing around where you were at or no?
Oh yeah, of course. There definitely were. Outside. Not inside the Hot Ones, but kind of just outside in the lobby. I was just like, I gotta just stay with her over here. You guys hang out over there, have fun. We're gonna be adults over here.
Yeah. That was like I said, that was the interesting thing about being in the puzzle one, because that just must not have attracted a lot of kids because puzzles are boring. So it was a little less stressful when I was hanging out in that one. But yeah, just even like the lobby thing where you were like, they were showing you shit.
Yeah, we were jumping into a bunch of different spaces just to kind of see how long she could go with like having the headset on. Just because it's been so long. So we'll see. Hoping to get back into a lot more of those games now. Like I have it connected right now, all charged up. I'm like, all right, I need to play a game on this now. Like, what should I do?
Gonna have to get the 3 if you want to play Batman.
Man, I don't want to buy more hardware. Dude,
huge upgrade. They dropped it early. I mean, I think you saw that thing, and I guess I was listening to Let's Talk Oculus podcast. And the guy, they had a guest dude on there, and I guess he's a streamer or fucking YouTuber or something. And they had sent out copies to everyone, the way you would for a game that's dropping. Right. And they gave them an embargo date. So, fucking streamers like plan on that shit. They like schedule their fucking recording and do all their editing and shit with, in conjunction with
this.
Right. Then, so I can drop it for this date. And they fucking just released it unannounced and I guess fucked a million YouTubers, with the date. So I don't know. Maybe they'll get flamed for that or something. I don't know. But, anyway, it dropped. And so he had played it a bunch. And this guy was just like, it's fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible. It's fucking incredible. And he's like, even he's saying it's like, it's got some bug stuff, early patch, go through the patch loop to fucking, as any big game like that first coming out is going to. He's like, but it doesn't matter. He's like, it's fucking incredible. It's like the physics of it all. You played those other, like the Arkham City and Arkham whatever. You played some of those, right? So he's like that fighting physics of like, battling a bunch of guys at the same time and like that feeling good the way it does in the flat screen ones. That he's like, they figured that out and it feels like you're, really fucking dealing with all. It's not like, he compared it to Asgard's Wrath 2, which did you would have to battle with, it was good about that too. But that's obviously different than like true hand to hand.
Right.
Combat where you're like the whole thing with Batman is you're always getting mobbed physically on top of you.
It's like Assassin's Creed style. You're just like battling and doing stuff.
And Asgard's Wrath, you're getting mobbed too. But again, there are some things are fighting with projectiles more, and like I guess Batman is just more hand to hand in my mind. So the idea of that is maybe a little bit more impressive. But yeah, he had nothing but glowing shit to say about it, and I'll probably wait. I got this thing going in Austin. I'll probably wait till around Thanksgiving, and that'll be like a month of like the feedback and patch loop will have played out. So a lot of the dumb shit will be sorted with it, and then I should have a shit ton of time in December to just play the fuck out of it.
Is that going to be a $60 game? What are we
talking I'm sure it is. Yeah, it's 50 or 60, I think.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean it's fucking Batman. So.
I mean, yeah, I can only imagine like even. As old as it has been now, like playing that Iron Man game in VR was freaking awesome.
Well, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same company.
Like,
right?
So awesome. So like, I can only imagine. Yeah, better, more time spent, later engine, better graphics.
A whole nother fucking generation of hardware too. So yeah, he had nothing bad to say about it. Which again, that's in the midst of talking about problems with it. He still had nothing bad to say, which is sounds pretty good. So
nice.
Yeah, that's cool to look forward to. Well, that's good. Trying to think if there's anything. So yeah, I got back and I sit down and fucking what are the things I got to do, and I bought some shit that I went in and got some wish list stuff that was on sale. The new fucking Fisherman's Tale, that one that was, I think I told you about. Well, I definitely talked about the first one, where it was like, where you're like, you're like the model inside, like the Russian doll type puzzle format, So they had a new one of those, and I got this game Townsfolk VR I'll talk about. That's kind of like this, it's like real time. It's Age of Empires is what it is. It's just 3D and fucking VR,
Really?
Yeah, so I've been playing the shit out of that too. So I'll get into those, but I'm trying to think if there's anything multiplayer that I got. No, I did see Dungeons of Eternity got a fucking Halloween update that everyone's saying is pretty cool. So we could do that if you wanted to do some dungeon runs.
Okay.
So that's still going on. And I haven't had the walkabout, dude. The last walkabout I got was, I think, that Venice one, and I think they've dropped like 2 or 3 since then.
You just lost the love for
well, it's just, I just no time. It's no time. They dropped, there's a space one that I talked about getting, and it just never happened. So there's a few courses of that I could fucking jump in and do a ball hunt with, too. Anyhow, anything else?
No, that's pretty much it, man. Like, I've been, jumping in and playing some Vampire Survivors with the kids.
There was I saw they were talking about on the CADcast. They were talking about they did a Castlevania, or they are doing a Castlevania IP drop. They did a partnership with Konami.
I don't know. I know there's a bunch of new stuff. Like there's even a new mode. But
yeah, there's
got into it with
all the Castlevania Belmonts and shit. They were saying it's the first time you've ever been able to play as all the Belmonts in one game. They've always been partitioned.
Yeah, I know there's so many new characters that I can unlock now. It's it's slow unlocking, but we'll get there. But that's been fun, just kind of playing because it's so easy to play. Like both of the youngest two can play. So I've been playing a little bit of that, and then really just some Raiden 4 again, just multiplayer shooter, flying shmup, aka vertical flying shooter. Yeah, just when I play with the boys. But that's pretty much it, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been a while, so I have my little list too. As with any time I'm doing a flick, once I get ahead of the fucking curve on the workload, I start playing Civ. So I did. So I got in a nice campaign of that while I was in Jersey. The random leader selection function gave me John Curtin of Australia this time, which I'd never played as Australia before, and they have both their civilization unique fucking things are pretty cool. They have their improvement thing is a souped up farm tile. So it's a farm, but it's like a, I don't know, like the actual tile looks like some kind of enclosure, like a little fucking, I don't know, like there'd be a bunch of dingoes in there or something, or kangaroos or something. But it also awards you some production. So being able to farm or do farmland and have it add to your production is a huge, I don't know, it's almost feels like game breaking. Because that's kind of a big part of your trade-off, I think, when you're doing city development is, am I skewing this towards being able to grow it very large, or am I focusing on production with it? You know what I mean? And being able to do both seems kind of like a fucking cheat code. So that's cool. And then their unique unit is it's called, what the fuck is it called? Some sort of Australian ass name, but it's basically an infantry unit it's like a little dude that wears a cowboy hat. So I'm always a fan when the unique units are modern because you get more use out of them. You know what I mean? As opposed to the earlier ones, you're progressing through those early fucking
that's true
ages so fast that you don't get as much run out of them. So sounds cool, pretty cool. And yeah, man, the new one drops on February 11th. Holy fuck! Get the fuck off the tracks. Am I going to be all over that? I watched they released I think I sent it to you guys, like a 20-some minute video of you know, it was a little masturbatory. Them kind of just, you know, it's like fucking Sid Meier's in it, and it's like they have all the fucking like big wigs just talking about, you know, the franchise, the history of it, and how this one is intended to like really embrace and cater to that and expand on, you know, however 20 plus years or whatever it's been of fucking civilization. That's so crazy. It's a little masturbatory, but it was still a cool watch because there's obviously a ton of game footage and stuff. Right. And I also watched. There's like of course analysis videos of it too, so I watched a few of those too to like talk about a better interpretation of what the differences will be in some of the game functionalities, you know. So there's definitely some changing shit to it that sounds pretty interesting. I can't remember enough of it to talk about it fucking explicitly now that I think about it, or now that I'm this far removed from it. But definitely some changes that, you know, it's like fucking Jab's cunny ass always talking about is playing 4 all the time. Like, you know, it's like this game is like a huge part of people's lives, and like to go in and just fucking wreck the way it works and like do some drastically different thing is like a jarring fucking creative choice. So it'll be interesting to see whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Dude, that sounds awesome. I remember always thinking like how different that is. Like either you were a Civ person or you were an Age person. And like it's so funny you started talking about that and immediately made me think, I forgot I've been playing Age of Mythology as well. Like, I don't know, Age of Mythology Retold is out. Like that game, it's like Age of Empires with god powers and like all types of extra cool shit, and it plays so smoothly on the controller. Like it's a fantastic game. Like definitely check it out. Like in that vein of like they updated it, they kept all the great stuff like that you wanted to be, that you expected to be, with a bunch of great extra god powers involved, walking around Titan smashing shit. Like, yes, like give me more of that.
One more turn, man. One more turn. It's the most definitely the most addictive game format there is. So
yeah, so good, so good.
Yeah, fucking Civ is unbelievable. It's hilarious to me how much time. It's just hilarious to think about how much time. Just with 6, but also in my life period with all of them. Like, it's just, I could literally have an entire career track accomplished in my life of something else. But, you know what I mean? Like, I could, like, my half-ass, you know, I always talk about, like, if schooling and not, you know, just, there weren't, what's it called? Where you have to choose between two things.
Competing priorities.
Cost. Well, yeah, but it's something cost. I can't think of the fucking
cost
term. Whatever.
Benefit analysis.
Cost benefit analysis. Yes, that's the analysis of it. But there's like opportunity cost. That's what I'm looking for. All opportunity costs aside, I always talk about marine biology is something I would love to have gotten into and done with my life. You know, like the ocean fascinates me. The idea of being able to work in it and with it as my everyday thing, at least abstractly, is very appealing. I'm terrified of the ocean too. It's a little bit of a contradiction probably. I don't know. But, you know, that's part of the fascination, I'm sure, the fact that I'm terrified of it. Anyways, going to school and getting a doctorate, not happening. I hate school. It's not that interesting to me. I don't want to spend that time. But if I had spent that time that I spent playing Civ on that, I'd have that done in my life for fucking sure. So I could moonlight as a fucking marine biologist in between movies if I wanted to, if I had not played Civ all my life as much as I had. So that's always funny to me to think. And I don't think that's hyperbolic. I think that is a 100% true thing.
Was it worth it? Was it worth it though to play the Civ?
I don't know. That's the tough thing about opportunity cost, bro. You don't know what you lost, you know. Anyhow, that's the Civ situation. That game I backed on Kickstarter, Beyond Shadowgate, dropped on September 19th. So I have it now. I talked to Amy and we decided we were going to play it together. We'll do that with point and clicks a lot. So I didn't play it right away. And then once I got back here, I realized like I expected them to be here waiting for me. You know, I backed at the top level. So I got I have a sick ass treasure chest of feelies and shit that are going to be I'm going to get to play the game with, which would be awesome.
Power babies,
right? Exactly, like physical power, tangible power babies, man. And I don't want to play the game without those because one, that's when you're going to enjoy them the most, and that's when they'll be the most helpful and interesting. So. But they had like a problem with their printer or something, so they're waiting on a couple books to be. It's not here yet, basically. So I'm waiting for that shit to get delivered before I start playing that. But just firing it up and looking at it, and again, listen to some of the fucking early reviews and shit. Like it's off the fucking wall. If you like, if you like the first one for sure, it seems like a no-brainer, and it's obviously just immensely built out and more involved, but exact same feel. Like it's a little more modernized and a little more visually pleasing probably, but the general, feel of it is exactly the same as the OG NES one. So it sounds like they fucking nailed it. So I'm looking forward to that. Puzzling Places, that 3D puzzle game, dropped a Walkabout Mini Golf model of cherry blossoms. So it's like the full map, corner to corner, of the Walkabout Mini Golf Course, and it was so cool, dude. I can't believe they're not doing. I'm sure they will do more of it now that it's been fucking. They've broken the fucking membrane on that. So, fucking, it's huge, first of all, and it's hard as fuck. Like all the little tree, I did. Every one of them I do 400 pieces, which is like the maximum difficulty or number of times whatever the model can be broken up, and so hard, dude. So many, you've played that. It's all trees. There's all these little tiny fucking trees that like it required me to come up with systems for like organizing the pieces.
Here's the dark green. Here's the
right. Yeah. You could not just have the multiple pages of fucking pieces and just randomly grab shit and try. It did not work. So I had to like enter a whole new tier of puzzle assembly, 3D puzzle assembly system devising to get through it. But I got I did 399 pieces, dude. And I can't, the trees, the reason they're hard on top of they all look the same and there's a million of them is you don't even know where they go, man. You can't even see the fucking little nub, maybe, that, like, if you remember that course, actually, there's like a bamboo area where it's like a hill that you go through all these bamboo stalks, and there were individual bamboo stalks that you're like, I'm like, got the fucking thing zoomed all the way in, and I'm like trying to see one little bamboo stalk sticking up that doesn't have the rest of it up, there. So like, I spent so much fucking time in the evenings, fucking after I would get off work in Jersey, fucking sitting there. I mean, I probably dumped, dude, 8 hours into fucking making that fucking puzzle. And so anyways, my whole point is there's one tree I can't figure out where it goes. I made a video of it and sent it to those motherfuckers, Puzzling Places and Walkabout Mini Golf. And I was like, I am calling the cops if you motherfuckers don't tell me where this last piece goes in the 400 fucking piece puzzle of this thing, because it is killing my soul that I can't figure out where the last fucking piece goes. So anyways, very fucking cool. And they need to do more of those. That was an awesome puzzle. And that was free too, actually. You got to buy the game, but they have like puzzle packs that you buy. That was they just dropped that and gave that to owners of the game for free. So they'll probably be, it's probably a test run. I'm sure they'll sell an entire pack of them next, and they'll have me for sure on that. So good on them. Good marketing. And probably the biggest thing for me, which is what's behind me right now. So I found that. I sent you guys the video. I got again, that was Let's Talk Oculus guys talking about it. The Subside VR, which is an aquatic diving simulator. It's PC VR, so obviously you got to have the fucking Steam set up to play it in the Quest 3. Oh my god. Oh my god, and like I have a shitty, like, my laptop is a good laptop, but it's not great for PC VR. It's not, it runs, it's plenty fucking, it's not like inoperable or like clunky, but it's not perfect. And like, I've seen the videos of people playing this on top flight PC VR systems, and it's fucking unreal looking, like unfucking believable. And I mean, just live action photo, like 100% no ability to differentiate it from reality at all. This like, because it's just like when I turn my head quickly, it'll like sometimes struggle to keep up with that. So there's like slight immersion breaking things that in my setup, like I'm going to spend whatever I have to spend to fix it. Basically, well, I'm going to get a new laptop. I'm going to get a new router. I'm going to get whatever the cable is. I'm going to get all the shit. I'm going to get the little fucking, whatever that little fucking little box I had to buy. I'm going to buy all of the most expensive shit for that because this.
Give me all the things.
Yes, it is so incredibly good and real. And, the premise of like it's meant to be a simulator. It's not a game, really. It gamifies your experience to some degree, so you have objectives of some kind. But it's you start the thing and you are in this kind of just white space room that is like it says you are in an aquatic simulator. It like, you're actually in a space that is going to simulate different environments, different aquatic environments. So there's like that premise. It's not just like, you're supposedly whatever. There's no game. It's like you are literally in a simulator.
Okay.
And as you walk onto the space and in the beginning, there's a training area and you like walk on the thing, you select that, you go into it, and it just drops you into this water space, dude. And it's like, you got your hands and you swim.
Your hands.
Yeah. And it's, dude. And like in the beginning, you don't have you can get items and stuff that like improve your quality of life. You get like a diving belt that allows you to basically move on the y-axis with the control stick to make life easier. There's fins you can get that make the swimming a little easier. But when you first start in this training area in particular, it's just you manually doing everything. So which is great game design because it forces you to experience that and feel. You feel like you are fucking diving, dude. It forces you to do the activities, like the physical exertion. Like
that sounds like it might freak me out, man. I don't know.
Oh, dude. The last level is this fucking cave diving thing. I almost hyperventilated the other day.
What?
Yeah, but like I got into, it's like going into this fucking tight space,
No,
and you literally got it because you can like grab on, like it's awesome because you're not just like this disembodied fucking object bouncing around in a water space. You can use your hands and grip things, and like when you like want to go around something, you can, or in this like go in under a fucking thing, you can like grip things and move physically. It's not interacting with the environment. You're not moving the things, although you can pick things up and move it too. But it changes the feel of it so much to have that functionality, and they nailed the feel of that. And it's water, so you have like there's especially like that cave one, like I'm talking about. It's obviously a river going through these caves theoretically, so it's like you fucking you feel the current, and like that changes your interaction with the space and how you navigate it and move through it. Oh, dude, they just crushed it. I can't believe how fucking good and real it feels. And crazy. Oh, dude, and so like I said, just the actual physics of it are insane. And it looks so good. It looks so fucking good. So that's all great, the simulation aspect. But to gamify it, they have... The core thing is finding these coins. And they're literally just... They look like a fucking Chuck E. Cheese token or something. Like a gold coin. And they're just laying in these, again, photorealistic underwater environments. So there is no hand-holding. It's you have to find these fucking things. Coins in like huge spaces and it's unbelievable how satisfying. It's walkabout mini golf ball hunting on steroids. It's just like.
But like, are you just running into sharks and stuff? Like looking at like the
yes. The short answer is yes, Jay, and yes, it is terrifying.
I don't know that I want to be in that.
You can't. It's not, at least in this one, in this iteration of it, they are not aggressive. It's still terrifying. The first time you see a shark is terrifying. And they're not even, it's not like you're like swimming with great whites. There is, like you see the picture behind me, there's like, you find, there's little plastic squeaky fish that you can find of different kinds. There's a koi, there's a shark, there's a dolphin, I think, or a whale. A whale, because it's a whale thing. And those open up these special stages. I actually just got the koi pond the other day, and it's just a cool ass fucking space full of these koi fish, you know, and it's just like a kind of like again a bonus stage thing. And I guess I don't have it yet, but yeah, there's a shark cage experience that you can get once you find the 4 sharks, and that is a great white, and you're in the cage, so you still can't be hurt, but I'm probably sure it's terrifying, especially again if your hardware's lit. It's got to be just absolutely fucking unbelievably impressive. But you know, out in you are swimming in, well, you know, one of them's a freshwater thing. Actually, there's like this gorge that you go through, and in that there's this huge sturgeon fish that is still huge and fucking, even though it's freshwater and sturgeons are not aggressive, it's still, it's like in this murky ass part of the thing, and when it first comes out of the murk, it's like, oh my fucking god. You know, so oh yeah, dude, so good. But yeah, and you know, there's like an open water, like a cove. The second level is this ocean cove, and yeah, you know, there's sharks that are like some of them actually have like the little feeder things on them, you know, that fucking clean the sharks. Like, yeah, so, but they're real sharks, you know, and fucking, again, the first time you see one, it's like out by this sunk fucking sailboat is like, oh my god. You know, like,
run the other direction.
Dude, and yeah, that's the thing, again, because, you know, you do have to breathe. You're free diving. It's not scuba diving, you're free diving. So you do have to surface. And you can get improvements that give you more. You can have longer air, and then you can get a snorkel. So when you're swimming along the surface, you can breathe and still look down and stuff. So there's like things to improve the interaction. And you can get this watch that gives you a timer on how much air you have left, which you don't have in the beginning. In the beginning, you just like, you feel yourself. Yeah, you feel yourself getting like, it starts breathing heaven. You get a little notification that you got like 10 seconds or whatever. And then when you start to like run out of air, you feel your heart beating. It's got like haptic feedback, and you hear your heartbeat, dude. And dude, again, like I said, that was the thing. I was doing that cave diving shit, and like, you know, you're like, because you're looking for, that's like what they gamified it perfectly, because you're looking for those coins, or you're trying to. There's also these boxes. There's these keys you find, and they unlock these boxes, and inside the boxes is where you get the things for the store that you have to spend the gold on. So there's like this 2-step process to getting the things that improve your fucking experience. But there's also, you can eventually get this like a torch, and then there's the boxes that you had to leave behind when you first found them because you didn't even know how to interact with them. But you go down and you burn the locks off them with the torch, and there's 2 locks per box. So like that takes time, and you're like weighing the thing, like, I gotta get to the surface, but I don't want to stop this fucking thing I'm doing. You know, like, so yeah, you could really push yourself. And you're doing that in a cave. You're not just, you can't just go straight to the surface because you're in a cave. So you gotta had to weasel your way down into this cave area. And like, I found there's one part of the cave where like, there's a sign that says like, if you don't have the proper equipment, don't go in here. You know, cause like, it's like for like seasoned divers, you know. And I was like, I got a couple of fucking breath upgrades, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking do this. And I go in there, and like, you're going through this thing, and you're like, oh my god, like you're running out of air, and you're like, where the fuck is the area, the part where I can breathe? Where's the thing? And like, it doesn't come, and then you just die. And it's like, yeah, like
not seasoned enough. Apparently.
Yeah, not seasoned enough, but like the experience of, I mean, clearly you're in a simulator, but it is so convincing that I felt the terror of I need to breathe and I can't breathe. You know what I mean? And
that sounds terrifying. I don't want that feeling though. Like, I don't know about that. Underwater?
It's so good. What? It's so good, dude. It's what I wanted when I bought the 2 to play Subnautica, you know, and Subnautica it's not built for it. So that experience hasn't come to fruition as well as I had liked perhaps. But yeah, it's so good. And I mean, it was some hilarious amount of money, like $20 or something. There's only the 4 main levels and then the 3 bonus ones. So, I mean, here's my credit card, whatever you want. Give me the new levels. Give me the new whatever. Now. Build them. Give them to me. I'll give you however much money you need. All of it if you need it. Whatever. Just fucking, yeah. So oh my God, such a fucking good experience. And yeah, I mean, dude, I'm breaking shit again in my fucking living room because you're like swimming and like, it's so immersive that I got my
Are you
Guardian
listening,
up.
devs? Make more. This is a glowing recommendation.
Unfucking believable, dude. Unbelievable, man. Unfucking believable. Just so good. Oh, such a good job. Oh, fucking VR is incredible. So playing the shit out of that, and like, you know, it's such a thing that you can't play it for, you know, you play it for like fucking 45 minutes. You're like, fuck, I need to, and like, yeah. I don't know how. You're just doing the movements. It's weird. It's amazing how tired it is. Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's such a cool experience. I definitely, and you know, I've always wanted to, like I told you, like scuba diving and shit. I would love to do that, but it terrifies me. Like I like the cave thing. Like I'll never in a million years go in a cave underwater.
No.
So the fact that they are able to give that to me so convincingly without the risk is the actual risk is just I'm just so thankful, and so it's, you know, it's just so cool. It's so fucking cool. So yeah, so that's great. Get Subside VR for fuck's sake. And the other one, Townsman is actually it's called, not Townsfolk, sorry, VR, and that's it's a real time medieval fantasy builder deal. There's some like, at least so far as I've gotten, you know, it's got a story mode, of course, and there's some like light battle mechanics, but it's not. It's definitely more about there's like a really built out and balanced. You know, you got to get this building to build this and get these resources to do that, and like the combination of those things to do that, and it's like it's much more focused on working your way through that and balancing that all and like helping your little workers get that shit done. You have like the kind of, you know, it's VR, so it allows you to kind of have the God capability of like pick, you know, you can either let the little fucker walk over there and get that thing, or you can grab it for them and put it on the place they're going to take it and save them that time if you can spend that attention doing it. You know what I mean? So that's a cool trade-off opportunity too. Like, do I want to spend my own time as the God helping the individual task, or because you like, you know, you like build the building and it just like creates the framework, and then people walk over and start doing it from whatever their tasks. But each building has, you know, they have to have like a worker to do the thing the building does. So you're also always weighing the economy of labor. You know, it has like literally a labor quotient that you need to have available. So you're like often have to choose between, okay, I gotta have a hunter getting fucking meat, I gotta have the dude at the cook at the fucking inn cooking the meat to make it available for food, and also someone working the well to get water over to the inn so people don't have to go over and do their own cranking of the well and slow them down. So like all those things have to be in place for the food thing to be happening, but I need wood to get this next step done, so I need some extra fucking wood choppers. You know, it's making you weigh the whole fucking labor pool at all times, and it does a really addicting and good job of, you know, making you real time figure that all out and fucking keep it running semi-smoothly, you know. And then also, yeah, when they introduce the war thing, then you're like dealing with outside influences that you can't even project or coming, you know what I mean? So it just complicates the math problem, which to me is crack, of course. So yeah, that is really good. It's only, I got it on sale for like $12, but I think it's only $20 normal, so it's a really good deal.
Nice.
We talked about Batman. The last thing I have, my Uncanny X-Men quest is up to issue 53, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And it actually...
You're getting up there.
It finally got a wee bit interesting in the mid-40s. It's still not good. It's still terrible. But in the mid-40s, Professor X dies. Spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't read comics from fucking 50 years ago or whatever. But that happened, and it still hasn't... He's not back. So I was kind of surprised. Like, I kind of thought it'd be like a soap opera death, you know? Like, he'd be right back. And he hasn't been. And they, like... I don't know if you recall it, but they, like... When he dies, they kind of just, like... They're like, okay, fuck this X-Men shit. And they, like... Each one of them goes their own separate ways and, like, starts a startup business or something, you know? They you know, they're getting out of the superhero game, and they're all fucking doing some dumb... Yeah, like, Jean Grey is the fucking model. She starts modeling, and, like, I don't know, fucking each one of them does, like, a dumbass job of some kind.
What?
And that only lasted a couple issues, and they're, like, back together now doing shit. But, yeah, it was really... It really took me by some... Definitely... was a fucking curveball for where I thought the story was going. I did not see it coming at all, that they would just like disperse and fucking start doing other shit. So that was kind of interesting. Again, still not good. They're getting back together now, and Magneto's trying to take advantage of the fucking fact Professor X is gone. And
they've been killing him off since the beginning.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where that's at.
That is great. They're trying anything at that point. Like, all right, let's see what we can do.
Yeah, and that's again knowing that they are that changeover is happening. And again, I don't know the exact issue, but I know now. I've gathered now that it's like it's under 100, and I'm like, like where? I don't know. That I'm very curious to see how the transition to that is going to happen in the actual.
Yeah. I wrote it down.
The main comic, like it's the fact that it jumps to that giant uncanny or the giant X-Men to make the change. Like, again, like I said, when I errantly read that, it was so clearly just like starting from anew. There was no seemingly no connective tissue to what might have been happening at that time in.
But I think there is, though. I think there is.
Oh, I'm sure there is. All I'm simply saying is there was no indication of what it was at the beginning of Giant X-Men. So how? I guess the simple answer is potentially that those are obviously independent storylines. Each one of those characters, and that's what it was. It was like I said, it was like Nightcrawler and Colossus. It was their origin stories or where they were at. So there clearly could be happening something concurrently with those 5 main X-Men and Professor X, if he's back, assuming he's back. So I guess that's probably the answer, but how that might tie together is certainly something I'm eager to get to and learn. So maybe by the next, I cruise through them; they don't fucking take long. So it's possible that by the next episode, I could potentially have that unearthed. We shall see. Well, let's talk about GamePro 20.
Is the title theme from the one and only Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones.
They just dropped these. We'll talk about it. They just dropped that like quietly, no coverage. It's out now.
Like I had to double check for a second. Like part of me was like, man, is this the game that I played recently? No, but I played through 2 recently. But
which
3
we still have to do. Yeah, we'll get to it. That's back cover action. Long way to go still, Jay. We'll get there. This is the March 1991 issue. It is a $3.95 US, $4.95 Canadian, $2.50 UK cover price situation, and we have Mickey Mouse. He's in a full tux and top hat, being hatsed off to the unseen crowd he's surely playing to, and yeah, this dominates this cover in Disney perfect illustrated fashion. And comic carts, Mickey comes to Game Boy, and that's the main headline. It may be the first Game Boy cover of either this rag or Nintendo Power, as far as I can recall. Like, I can't think of any Game Boy games getting
that makes sense.
Yeah. At least
Game Boy is still secondary. Like it's
for sure
a thing.
But yeah, even at the drop though, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, they're definitely even that Tetris cover was not for Game Boy. That was the NES cover. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there has been. Anyhow, plus the Punisher, Silver Surfer, Dick Tracy, and more. And there's nothing we haven't partook in with those. And 2 of the 3 are garbage. So that's
behind the times. What are we doing, GamePro?
Yeah, it's not particularly exciting. They do have 18 pages of new games, supposedly. That's Quantum Fighter, Gauntlet 2, Bomberman, Operation C, Sword of Sodan, Shadow Dancer are listed here. And then Hot Tips and Tactics is the last bullet point. Secret Strategies and Passwords, see page 78. And yeah, starting this issue, read off. I was feeling very iffy, teasing a monthly feature like SWAT on the cover. Seemed like a really bad sign for there being interesting shit in here, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that was a little concerning at the top of this, but it came around. There ended up being things that were new and interesting, so fears were alleviated in the long run, but Taito maintains their stranglehold on the advertising pole position in this mag. This time they thought Puzznick and Dungeon Magic were the games they could most likely extort mom's dough with. And Puzznick is good.
Yes.
It's not a run out and get it mom kind of banger, but it is good. And then we also have the Atari Lynx 2 banger before the TOC. And that TOC design and layout philosophy is coming along for the team at GamePro headquarters. The margin art doesn't look like a toddler cropped them, so they're getting better at that. Yep. The MJ art has the BG fully keyed out. So it's like, like a real magazine layout person took the time to fucking make it look like it's not just from something else. So
there was thought put into it this time.
Great time. Thought and time and effort. Very good. Way to go, gang. Acclaim comes in hot for that with a full pager letting us know that Bart Simpson versus the Space Mutants. Spit it out, Josh. Woo. Is finally on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Mom, I need it. I need Bart, Mom.
Yeah, finally indeed. How did we live without this magnificent artistic achievement from the Kitchen Boys with a little drizzle of David Crane at Absolute Entertainment? The copy here reads, "Hello, fellow humans. Bartholomew J. Simpson here with a big secret. Space mutants are invading Springfield. Yours truly is the one who can see him, or the only one who can see him, so it's up to me to stop him. I've got spray paint things, get radical on my skateboard, and generally behave like a nuisance, man. It's a good thing I've got the rest of the Simpsons to help me out. So if you're a decent person, a patriot, save the Earth. Buy this game." And I think I did more than my part in running this piece of shit at least once, maybe more, because I was infatuated with The Simpsons, like everyone was at the time. Or their edginess, I should say, around 10 years old. But we all know it's a relatively bad game.
Sadly, yes. This is not the good one.
No.
It was exciting because it was Bart, but...
Yeah. I don't know if any of them, excuse me, were good, but...
Well, the arcade game.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not
that
even...
game was solid.
Shouldn't even be spoken of in the same...
Right, but I'm saying the second one is more like that, so it's more... All right, this is something I could play longer. But yeah, this one, the spray painting thing, I was like, Well,
it's funny. My memory of it is horrific, and I'm not even beginning to say I'm going down a road that it's a good game. But I fired it up for a refresher, and there's fucking great pixel art to start with, so they did a good job of like capturing that and whatever. But playing like. Whatever I might have engaged it like or with as far as reading, instruction manuals, whatever it might have been. Engaging this as an adult with an effort to like gain an understanding of what my objectives were here. I think it was the first time I ever really understood that I had to paint things purple. And like kind of Metroid.
Objective 1.
Right. Yes. But like that Metroid vein, because you're not just given the paint. You got to like go get the paint and then backtrack and like
go back.
Right. So I'm not sure I ever gathered that. I don't remember it. It felt new to me when I was trying to do it, and that actually kind of, it's not like I sat and played this game forever, but like when I understood that and then kind of what I had to do to make that happen, it got a little bit interesting to me. So that was surprising to me. And I did not expect to have that emotional response.
There were some big jumps that had to be made that like you had to kind of hold B and run and to kind of get up higher to get the cans.
I don't think I figured that out because there were things I wasn't able to get to, and that's kind of
on top of some of the clowns. Like you have to be able to like do a run and then jump,
bounce off them.
Off the can, the garbage can, so you can spring high enough. At first, I was like, "This is ridiculous. How did I do this as a kid?" And then I kept trying and finally got it, and I was like, okay, now I don't remember what getting all those clowns does for you. I couldn't get the other ones, and I was just like, man, like, to your point, I felt the same way. I felt like, oh yeah, I understand. Paint everything purple. I got to make big jumps to be able to get all these extra power babies, even though I don't remember what they all do.
Right.
But I was not successful in getting everything.
and it's interesting, but like the hitbox and controls shit it's so bad.
So bad.
That part is so bad that when I died, I was so frustrated that I was like, I'm not going back to the beginning. I'm not doing it, Yep. And also,
felt the same.
Playing that also with Boy and his Blob kind of in my mind fresh, which is the same, the Kitchen Boys and fucking David Crane as well. Like, these guys have like a really weird video game physics philosophy. Like, the movement and jumping is this very floaty and friction deprived thing to me that is very prevalent in this game and A Boy and His Blob. And I don't know if it exists anywhere else, at least on the NES, in the same, I don't know, noticeable way. And like that was probably that, and then the new understanding of what the objectives were my biggest takeaways. Like seeing the through line between this and A Boy and His Blob, I guess, was really prominent to me. And yeah, I don't know. It's not a good realization because neither one of those games controls in a way that is feels good. But it's very interesting to me that they both have that same feel, that there wasn't any change to that, that there's some sort of like coding philosophy or something with those guys that like, that's, they're repeating that.
This continues, but this also continues the thread of first time IP being terrible. Like the first game IPs being terrible, like X-Men first game terrible, like second game great, like first game Ninja Turtles comparatively terrible, like it's nostalgic, but like everybody knows Turtles 2 and later are all great, as we're able to get closer to arcade engine.
Yeah,
so not surprising.
Part of that is just, obviously time on task and stuff. You get better with the hardware. Like obviously all the systems as you get, especially these back then, because every new system and platform was like a totally different fucking technology essentially. So, there's always a learning curve to like learning how to maximize that hardware with software, yada, yada. So yeah, it's not terribly surprising. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's obviously an IP bonanza that we could have a lot of fun with, this game, I mean. And I'm kind of interested in that search and destroy Metroidvania fucking loop, but I think it would be a really frustrating thing to dedicate time to.
I agree. I would not. Like the thought of going back and trying to get all the purple things from that level, I was like, man, no. Like, it feels impossible. Like where's I would definitely look for the Game Genie 100%. 100% on this game.
But I probably have to not fucking jump off the roof or something. From there, we get a double banger from your boys at ImageSoft, bringers of Solstice, touting December's drop of the Dragon's Lair kinda sorta arcade port. And we already talked about how this game is a complete atrocity. But you do have to love ImageSoft's ability to really bring it with the fantasy themed marketing shit,
They pull you in. If you don't know, you're like, whoa, what is this? Like every time.
Yeah. I mean, this and Solstice are just fantastic ads. So they got a good marketing team. Could maybe if they just spend some of that money on the fucking development side, might be willing to talk about them a little more these days. Then it's on to a new two-banger from NEC for the T16, and it's 62 numbered screenshots you need a magnifying glass from any of, captioned by the boast of the fact that the TurboGrafx-16 has more amazing 16-bit video games to choose from than anyone else. You can count on it, is the tagline. And I didn't care enough to research it, but I did think it surprising that Genesis might not have had 62 total titles out by March 91. Which I guess is possible. 62 is not a small number of games, but I feel like the Genesis has been out that, what it is? It's probably a testament to the lack of third-party support.
I was about to say, they just announced, like in the last episode, or maybe even this one, like, we're just announcing third-party partnership with X company. So it's I'm sure those are still ongoing at this point. Yeah.
Well, that was it. Yeah. And the Pro News, it's Data East. And that was a big thing for me too, because there's a few games in there that were interesting that, I will talk about later. So that's a good pull. But yeah, that's probably it, is the third party support is just not quite there. But still, just the math of it, I was kind of like, really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
And that's the thing about advertising back then. No one's going to pull your card. There's no internet. So motherfuckers will just say shit.
We'll believe you. Like, hey, that's what they're saying. It's in the name. TurboGrafx-16. Look how many they got. Like,
Right. Letter from the GamePro sets up the issue for us next. And this is all about the budget conscientious tactics for indulging in your gaming habit while on a gaming budget. And there's a few just kind of, fun things of the times suggested in here. There's swapping game carts with your boys, even game consoles, which I never did, but that is I like the thought of kids doing that. However much it might have happened, who knows? But doing all that instead of buying the latest hot shit yourself, or pooling your allowance with others to save up for shit, and then like starting your own video game co-op, basically. That's pretty cool. And then they prompt you to write in with your ideas about how to game without a bankroll. So they want more suggestions. So I thought that was a pretty fun letter topic.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's just like everybody's broke. Like it's such a focus.
Well, that's my next point. Weird. Is I was reading this and I was like, were we in a recession in early '91? Like that's that was my thought reading that letter. It looked like there was the way they were talking, like there was a bunch of shit in the news about money being tight all around, so they just felt compelled to also continue that narrative, And yeah, I did me, I do a quick Google fucking of this situation, and a Bureau of Labor Statistics post came up saying that the U.S. went into a recession in July 1990 after the longest peacetime economic expansion in the nation's history. And it lasted, this particular recession, ever so interestingly, until March 1991, when this issue hit. So it was probably in the news a great deal leading up to this because it was like the end of that recession. So it was probably at its highest point, And yeah, so this article that I read, the Bureau of Labor Statistics article, was written in 94. And with that retrospect available to them, the analysts deemed this, it was a 9-ish month downturn, was mild compared to the most previous contractions of the U.S. economy. So it wasn't a big one, but it was the first one in a long time. So it was basically the whole thing of like the 80s fucking economic surge. Finally, the window came fucking crashing shut on that, and everyone was probably like, whoa! It was probably a huge deal, even though the actual severity of it was not all that big, relatively speaking. But yeah, you could definitely feel it reading this letter for sure.
Yeah,
the editor must have had some sort of fucking his fucking portfolio must have went the shitter on him or something, and it's all he could think about.
Everybody's broke now. What are we going to do, guys? You guys got to keep buying your games, right? How are we going to do it, guys?
Yeah, how are we going to maintain? A new full pager from EA for The Immortal bridges us to the mail. This is the ad that's behind me right now. It's a great fucking ad, I think. It's a bunch of human skulls representing all different ways that you can get murked in the game, but they're all with like a comedic edge to them. So there's like a smoking skull, captioned fried, a skull melting from a green goo on it, captioned slimed, so on and so forth. And then probably the best 2 screenshots they could have picked for the game, and the dope-ass box art as well.
Of course. I mean, they did another great job. Like, they did...
These ads, all the Immortal ads
are on fire for real.
Yeah.
Even though they're old and we've seen them, again, if one forgot...
This one's new.
I know, but I'm saying, like, if you have never seen the game before... or forgot what it was, you'd be like, "Oh, dude, what is that?"
Maybe I gotta revisit that.
Right.
Yeah, the tagline reads, "The Immortal, dead serious about living action."
Dun, dun, dun.
Pretty good. Yeah, I can't fucking wait till the Genesis one hits later in '91 of Immortal. We're gonna play the shit out of that.
Oh, really? I don't know, man. I got Final Fantasy 2 through 6 now. I'm trying to play. Let's go, Josh.
Well, you got to multitask. We also got some Phantasy Star shit we got to fucking get back to. Can you imagine how much of a cunt Jab is going to be about scheduling that?
It's never happening.
Probably.
Our adventurers are just stuck wondering what's happening now.
Yeah, where did the guys go? Yeah. Very concentrated discussion in the mailbag this month, whether games should be rated and or have content warnings, and how also the Atari Lynx is panning out.
Right? I like the Lynx commentary. Like, he perfectly summed up the Atari problem, man.
Yeah, I thought it was all the ratings shit bores me, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Kevin in Union City, California, feels like Atari stuck him for his cheddar. He's like, he lists out these. I dropped 180 on the system, and I bought 7 games, and then he's incensed about the lack of software and marketing support he's seen in his year of ownership. It's like he's not only pissed that there's no games, he also is like, he sees the lack of like money being spent on the marketing to get other players to buy systems and games, so the company will be propelled to make more games for him. So he's pissed about not only his micro, but he's pissed about the overall global macro.
He sees the long game.
Yeah, like, what's happening? So fucking long game. Yeah. I laughed my ass off reading that. He was just so heated. Well, what say ye, noble Atarian? Defend your kin, Jay. What's your?
That's what I'm saying, man. I agree. He perfectly summed up the problem. Like,
yeah,
I loved Atari. I still had my Atari magazine at this point, like when I saw it coming out. But even I knew, like the Lynx was like a perfect example too. Like we knew that the 7800 would.
I love it. You say we, like you. You're in the cave. You're in the
Atari
Atari cave.
Yes.
We
Exactly, man. My people, the Atarians. I mean, that's what it was. Like even the Lynx looking so amazing that it couldn't compete with the Game Boy because the Game Boy had all the games, and it's Nintendo. So like we know that more games are going to keep coming, newer games are going to keep coming for it, and like little peripherals to get attached to it to make it color eventually and all this kind of stuff. It's only a matter of time. Whereas like the Lynx, it looks great, but California Games isn't going to take it so long.
It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it for me. It's fucking dope, but you got to give me something more
I need Double Dragon 3, man. Like, I need the stuff. I need Ninja Turtles 2. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
I'm off the soapbox.
Well, okay. What are you going to do, man? Some things just don't work out. It's life. Cutting Edge is on Super Famicom software after a short lead-in about the U.S. rollout plans, and they talk Super Mario World, F-Zero, Final Fight. Those are all the headliners, and there's also a chart with a couple dozen titles slated to hit in Japan this year, so they're talking about the Japan releases.
SimCity on there?
Yeah.
Cause some fire.
It's coming. It's getting super close. 5 months away now, August.
Final Fantasy V is in there. That's on the docket then.
Yeah. One day. A dope new WrestleMania challenge ad from LJN. Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior and Hulkster. Right? I assume. Celebrate the Warriors' recent belt loss to Sergeant Slaughter is what they're doing here, I guess. And that gets us to Hot at the Arcades, and they are talking a Sega machine we've seen elsewhere already. It looks very familiar to me. The R360. It's a fighter jet dogfighting, but it's in this cabinet that spins on multiple axes, so it like makes you really feel the G-force vibes. So
and it was always either broken or
really I don't
used.
I don't remember ever seeing one, but I would guess that probably was broken all the time. It would be my guess. That's a great
broken, or there was somebody in there who's just occupying. Like, all right, I don't got time for this, man.
The other one is from Atari, and it's a follow-up to Hard Driving, and I did not know this existed, Jay. I did not know there was a fucking
sequel. You didn't know Race Driving existed?
I knew Hard Driving existed. That's the one that's been ported to Genesis I'm all hot about. But yeah, I didn't know there was a sequel to this.
Atari's got some hotness. It's a good racer for the time.
Yeah, I don't ever remember even seeing it. I guess maybe you would just fucking amalgamate it with Hard Driving. Who knows? But they, as far as talking through it, they add 2 new tracks, a super stunt course, and something they're calling an autocross track with outrageous twists and turns in quotation marks, and also retains the original 2 tracks in the first game. So those are still there as well. And it had it's a fucking race cabinet. So there's just the one steering wheel. You can't play multiple fucking players at the same time. So to come up with a way to multi this, they have a system where player 1 does their run, and then player 2 races against a recorded ghost runner of the first player's fucking run through the track, it's innovative. It's interesting. It's clearly not as cool as racing next to a friend, but it is an interesting idea, at least to give it some competitive whatever for the kids who are competitive.
They did what they could at the time until they were able to get that multiplayer.
That's cool. Actually,
then it was done after that.
I didn't do it, but I got to make a note to I should get that for the MAME emulators to check it out. Because I don't believe that ever makes it to any of the fucking, not that I know of anyways, maybe, who knows. Maybe late in the Genesis lifespan or something it'll hit there. Adventures of GamePro has Totterino winding down his Moonwalker Game World stint, battling Mr. Big this time around. Zardoth shows up after that runs its course with MJ in tow and proceeds to create an impenetrable barrier over the world to protect kids forevermore. Seemingly, to me, something he probably should have done to all places at risk, and then Todd can just go home. But they didn't do that because you need to keep making the comic.
Yes.
And they tease Bonk's Adventure as the next game world that we're coming into, which is cool. That's a great game for T16, so that's fun. Whether or not Todd's exploits in it will be fun remains to be seen. Pro Classics comes next, and it's on the OG TMNT for NES from Ultra. And as any respectable mag coverage of this game would, they include a best practices flowchart for the bomb disarmament in the dam stage. And I like this pro tip tack on. It reads, if your oxygen timer is about to run out, which automatically drowns your entire team, select the weakest turtle and commit turtle side. Like, kill yourself manually with the electric shit or whatever. And then you'll only lose the one turtle, and the bombs you disarmed will remain inactive. So that is a very high level fucking turtle strategy thing, I think, that, if you're playing on OG hardware and you don't have the luxury of save scumming, would have been a nice little thing to know. So that's a pretty good pro tip, I thought.
Interesting. Hey, people are still needing help tips at this point, so that's definitely necessary.
That game's hard as fuck, absolutely. There's another mention of this in the Ask the Pro section we'll get to later that is in the vein of this game's hard as fuck. But they give it a just fine and dandy 76% on the rating chart. There's 4s in graphics and sound, 3s in gameplay and fun, and then a 5 in challenge. So that kind of corroborates what we were just saying. I'm on board with that rating overall, probably. And the MSRP is $43.95 still, despite being a couple years old, and they're sure to point out that it will rank as one of the top-selling NES carts of all time. That's early. That's, sense. Given the lifespan remaining on the NES, and they're not... I mean, I guess we do have the SNES kind of looming on the horizon, so maybe that gives them like a finality point to the lifespan. They feel they can say that, make that statement, but that's a pretty, for the lifespan to not be over... that's a pretty big thing to say, I think, I mean,
point. It must be that big of a lead, you know what I mean? Where it's like, there's no, like, the next biggest game has come out on the Super Nintendo, and that doesn't count, so we're on.
Yeah. It is a 2 meg cart with an MMC3 chip specs, which, that actually, seeing that kind of made me, like, go back and look at the timeline. Like, it's the MMC3 chip and 2 megs is pretty far ahead for a June 89 release. So, Konami knew what they were doing with that title. They spent some money on the hardware with it, which is why.
The music, the IP, everything. It just, everything we've talked about ad nauseum. Yeah, well,
did we? Yeah, we did a game episode, right? Yeah. I was going to say that, and I was like, wait, did we?
Like, we've clearly talked about it a lot.
Yeah, out of 100-something fucking episodes. Shit all runs together. And then Sunsoft has a new full pager for us after that for Super Spy Hunter. And this isn't out until September of 91. But this reminded me that I feel like we never really covered the original Spy Hunter. And I really like that arcade game. And the NES one isn't terrible. But I feel, I don't know if we've ever seen it. I think there might have been an ad for it or something for it in one of those Fun Club newses back in the formative years of the ISOH pod, before your time. But yeah, I feel like we haven't even entertained the idea of playing that for a game app, and it is not a bad game. So
it doesn't even sound familiar at all.
Spy Hunter, really? It's very I feel like it is ubiquitous to coin-op arcade rooms, man. It had a steering wheel, gas pedal, it had a shifter, and I feel like there's actually multiple versions of it, maybe. But there was definitely one at the skate rink I went to when I was little, at not Starlight Triple T, but the one in Grafton. What the fuck was it called? I can't believe I'm spacing on that now. That's going to kill my soul. Son of a bitch. But yeah, they had one there, and I remember playing it as a little kid. That was the place. They had Double Dragon and that were the two games I played a shit ton of.
Double Dragon.
At that. And they also had a Double Dribble that I would play a little bit. So yeah, it's a great arcade cabinet, and yeah. So anyway, yeah, what I was saying was the like the thing that's most memorable about it, like you're a racer, and there's like some battle mechanics to it. You get like a oil slick thing that you can drop to make cars spin out from behind you, and I think you can shoot as well. So again, as the title would insinuate, you're a spy car, and then you also have to Like you come out, like the stage starts, and you like a semi truck comes on screen, and the back opens up, and your car drops out of the back of it, and like just starts driving as after it rolls out of the fucking
Maybe I have
truck.
it.
Right? Yeah, it's like a very memorable, I don't know, stage intro thing that I feel like there's just no way you haven't ever seen it. Yeah. It's possible.
Like the way you're describing that actually sounds familiar.
In any event, I never played or was aware of a sequel, so I look forward to it dropping and checking it out to see if they improved any of the gameplay shit. Because it's definitely old and dated feeling, so if they've improved the feel of it, then even more reason to give that a whirl. That is the Kabuki Quantum Fighter Round 2 theme from the NES title. And we roll into our cover item here, a special feature titled Comic Book Heroes and Cartoon Stars. And text in a starburst graphic that looks like a kindergartner's work reads, Ever wanted to join your favorite comic heroes and cartoon characters in their wild and crazy adventures? Here's your chance. Check out these rad video games featuring famous dudes and dudettes from comics and tunes. And mostly just wanted to read that so I could say rad. And the game.
And this is lies. This is lies. I'm calling Cap. Like, this is BS. Dick Tracy is not anybody's comic book hero or cartoon star at this time in life. You cannot sell me any other story other than that.
That is
very marketing, bro.
That is a very impassioned speech to make at the very top of this, Jay. I would say,
come on.
I would say that, is it Disney? Yeah, it's a Disney thing, right? I would say that there's at this time, no matter how you feel about that IP, because of the movie being a Disney flick at this time, it was probably everywhere, dude. It was, I mean, you know what I mean? It probably was just in every magazine, on every commercial break. It was probably fucking everywhere. So, man, cut him some slack. Cut him some slack, bro.
Fine. I guess we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Get off. My disdain for this IP.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. It's not great, but
it's fine. It's fine.
But well, they're talking the Sega Genesis game, not the NES one. There's one for each system, and they also have Arcadia's Silver Surfer on the NES. LJN's The Punisher, also an NES game. They have ISOH Game Up alum Yo Noid. I thought that was a little bit of a wacky inclusion to some degree. But that's here. We have Capcom's Mickey's Dangerous Chase. That's the name of the game on Game Boy that gets the cover here. And also Capcom's Tailspin on both T16 and NES systems.
Yeah, good stuff.
And
the smattering of games.
Yeah. The only one that we haven't already fiddled with is Tailspin, and that's because those don't drop until summertime of 91, so we're not quite there yet. Dick Tracy is called an open and shut case in the wind down. Reads, Dick Tracy seems simplistic at first, but give it time and it grows on you. However, hardcore fans of lone lawman shoot-em-ups might prefer to step into the future with eSWAT. It's more challenging and snazzier graphics, rougher bad guys, and tougher boss stages. And no, Madonna doesn't make an appearance here. That's the other thing, dude. Madonna is also like stratospheric tier star, and she's in that movie. So all the more reason. It's probably just so inescapable in early 1991.
Fine. I'd rather play Punisher from this list. The movement is terrible, but it's still more fun.
Yeah, I mean, than Dick Tracy, for sure. They give Dick Tracy a 68% on the rating, and that sounds about right with our take. I would not corroborate the eSWAT suggestion, though. I didn't think that was, we don't...
I don't know if
I think we both thought that was terrible.
I support, just switching off of that game in general, but maybe not. Going to eSWAT is your next go-to. That's just me.
Yep. And then Silver Surfer gets an 84%. Okay.
What?
The reviewer goes on to say, this card is easily one of the toughest shooters around, but at least the graphics are great and the sounds really cook. Use slow-mo, turbo fire, prayer, or anything else you got. And then the closeout paragraph reads, beware, this card can seriously dampen your spirits. No kidding, beginners and the mentally unstable should hunt elsewhere for NES thrills. So that's a lot of...
Wow.
That's just a lot of
if you're
something.
mentally unstable, stay away from this card. All right.
Yeah, man. And then the Punisher gets a 68%. I think that's a little unfair. I think we both think that's a little better. Especially if the thing is, if you just talk comparable, the idea that it's on par with Dick Tracy is not.
That's not right.
I don't agree with that at all. If you want to criticize the Punisher, sure, it is one of those kind of clunky Operation Wolf things, and there's a lot of fallbacks to crosshairing around the screen. But if you're going to call fucking Dick Tracy 68%, the Punisher's got to be a little smidge better.
Right. The Punisher was ahead of its time. Like, it needed that second X stick to move quicker while you aim with a different stick, not one thing that moves you both. That's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because it's otherwise like fun. I like shooting the bad guys as they come across the screen like that. It's very satisfying.
Yeah, man. And they give Yo Noid is a really interesting fucking rating situation. They give it a 5 in graphics, which I guess the graphics are really good.
But they give it 3s everywhere else, man. That's like,
yeah, well, I think that's right. I think it's very, like, again, all the things that we said were like,
fun factor to me was like a 4. I had a lot.
No, because that pizza shit, dude. It's the pizza shit falls off, bro. It becomes really tiresome. It's really unique and interesting at first, and then it's like by like halfway through the game, it's like, fuck these, man. This is not. Give me a real boss battle, man.
No, man, It's about selling pizzas, dude.
Yeah, so a 17 out of 25. What's that?
What are
math?
You gonna do?
What's that math out to? A 17.
Not good.
Divided by 25 is a 68.
Like
also
72.
a 68%.
Oh, okay.
So again, yeah, I mean, I'd probably put it on par with Dick Tracy, but again, I think Punisher's better. So they're whatever. A little off. I guess each one is a different reviewer too. That's the thing the variance you have to take into account is that it's not all the same person reviewing these. So you're going to get a little bit of incongruence, perhaps in your Perhapsily. That's a fucking good word.
Perhapsily.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Perhapsily.
Yeah, Perhapsily. Yeah, that's got to stick around. That's a good word. There is also a smattering of teasers for mostly Disney fare. We have Fantasia on Genesis. Fuck yes, when that comes out after that last Mickey game we played for Genesis. And then Peter Pan, Robin Hood, Snow White all on the NES, as well as the one Marvel Jam I have mentioned being pumped about off its inclusion in those 3-banger Genesis ads.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, man. Spider-Man. So that is finally coming soon. And there are ads in here. Duh. We have The Untouchables on NES from Motion Software. Won't drop till July. Putting it here near the Dick Tracy coverage makes a lot of sense. Same boring IP, basically. So that was a good choice, probably. And then we have Werewolf on the NES via Data East. And this is, it's funny, I always will remember that I was in Atlanta when we first played that game for some reason or another. So that's been around for a while. That was last March, so a year and a half ago that we saw that. Not a bad game, but tough to consider as a game app, I think. And then they have Nissan Supercars, an Electro Brain release with that amazing title track, but no way otherwise as far as that game goes. And then we are on to our previews. The first NES joint is HAL's Kabuki Quantum Fighter. And this we've talked about. It's the hair attack mechanic ninja game. I think we both liked it when we first encountered it. And the hair thing is definitely unique and interesting as far as a attack mechanic goes. And it's a good video game. I would play this video game for our video game podcast, Jay. I don't know what your stance on that is, but it checks all the boxes, I think. And they are in line with that thinking. They awarded a searing 84% on the rating meter. They have 5s in gameplay and challenge, 4s in fun and sound, and then a 3 for graphics that I agree are probably its weakest point. It's not the priority of the game.
Yeah, it's definitely
But yeah, see if I care about that if the rest of it's good. The MSRP is a $44.95 price tag with it's a 2 meg cart, so not overly expensive either. Jalico has some new shit for us, quietly dropped under our radar for Christmas last year, and this is an interesting game. I fired it up before reading the article about it and immediately had the Blaster Master comparison that Roadkill Warrior, the reviewer, gives us in the summation paragraph. And this is, I didn't even write down, Metal Mech, Jesus Christ, yeah, that's the name of it. I didn't write the name down. But instead of a tank, your vehicle is a mech. And it's not just any mech. This is a straight-up Ed 209 from RoboCop. It's like shamelessly no effort whatsoever to make it look a sea-hair different from Ed 209. And I think that also applies to the movement. The movement of this, I think, is meant to feel clunky as fuck, which is that robot's Achilles heel in the RoboCop movies, is that it doesn't have good mobility, you know? It's like this very, lethal killing machine, cop replacement, but if you get it on steps, it's fucked. You know what I mean? So that is you feel that playing the game, and the way you get around that clunkiness in the game to do anything you want to do where that clunkiness will be in a problem is you can climb out of this fucking thing, and the pilot, the little dude, and then run around and do shit where you're more nimble and can get into tight spaces and stuff, but you're of course more vulnerable in this state, and you only have a piddly little pea shooter as your weapon while you do it. So that is just very Blaster Master-esque shit, and there are areas that you can of course only access as that in that way that you need to access to both get power-ups that make your life experience better with both the mech and not, and also make progress in the game. So those are all cool things, and I like Blaster Master, so the idea of there being more games trying to hit that note is not a bad choice, in my opinion. Did you play it?
Yeah, and I don't want to ever play it again.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't call it a good game, but it is interesting.
This game wasted my time, I feel like. Like, I wanted to play it straight up, and so I did, and it felt like I played this game for like an hour and didn't get anywhere. But I went everywhere. Like, I went everywhere I could go.
See, this is exactly my thing. I was curious too. This is me too. I was like, not sure I was enjoying myself, but I did want to know more. And I played all the way through the first stage, which I did not expect to do when I first
fucking went everywhere. Like, I got out and I went all the way underground and
I did too. Oh yeah, I eventually
again, and like I was way up in the sky.
I went down below ground, and you have to leave your mech behind, right? So like, what actually I think propelled me to keep playing was wanting to know if once I finished this stage, I got the mech back, or if there was some other way that I was going to get the mech back later on, you know what I mean? Because yeah, you could just keep running for fucking ever underground there, and leave your mech way back behind. And I think when I finished the stage, I did get it back. But yeah, there was no way to replace it or anything in the stage. I didn't
find the end of the stage. Like I felt like I did everything that was to do, and I'm like, am I looping back and forth now? Like, am I looping on the other side of the screen? Is that what's happening now? Because I feel like I've gone everywhere there's to go, and I just am fighting the same enemies over, and so I just...
No, you got to go back above ground. You do just walk... I think you just walk off the right side. There is an end to it. I got there, but yeah, it was...
I was very annoyed. I was very annoyed at the game.
I bet if... same with Blaster Master. Blaster Master was always there's a lot of friction to getting into it for me too, which is why I've never beaten it, even though it's it is a very revered game, because it's one of those games you have to invest time in understanding your objectives. That is going to require some instruction manual reading and shit. And I think that 100% applies here to know what you're trying to do, why you want to be out and inside of that fucking mech at time. You know what I mean? You need to know, I think, a little more about it to really embrace it. So I think that is necessary. So. Some of the criticisms I would couch with that caveat, but yeah, it also just didn't, it never feels great. Like I said, I think the robot is deliberately shitty mobility wise, and then when you're the dude, it's
you feel exposed.
Yeah,
it's like ugh.
Which is what you're supposed to feel. You're supposed to feel at risk, but it still should feel good.
It doesn't feel fun.
Yeah, right.
When you're...
Right. Yeah, they give it a respectable 76%. Not sure if I think
high.
that's...
I don't know.
I'm not sure if I think that's a little high. I probably maybe do. But again, I would want to have some further evaluation before I really start criticizing the number, $49.95 MSRP too, so it's it's not a cheap game. So
that
they
think
it's
cheap.
Wow. Yeah, they think it's worth some dough. There is a new ad after that for my childhood NES cleaning tool, the Eliminator, and this is the all pink and white one, very unforgettable in my opinion. And the ad is kind of fun too. They're analogizing brushing your teeth poorly with how badly most game cleaners clean, and they have a big goofy Photoshop dude face with fucked up teeth, And the other side, I wrote down, fucking looking at this. Brushing your teeth was like I don't know. I just remember it being something my parents harped on so fucking much, And there had to be like PSA campaigns or something. And there was actually. I can now that I say that out loud, I remember one in particular, like a cartoon Saturday morning PSA thing about brushing your teeth. So it must have been, there must have been something in the zeitgeist that made that a big deal. And thinking of that, I wanted to ask you if that's something that you find yourself nagging your tots about.
I mean, we definitely make sure they absolutely have to. But I mean, I've also had great teeth care. You know what I mean? Like I take care of my teeth, and I know not doing that causes
getting my dad to take me to the fucking doctor was almost. I broke my finger once. He didn't take me to the doctor, and fucking yeah. So that was never easy, but. We always did get our teeth cleaned. Yeah, we got our teeth cleaning and shit, our teeth cleanings and shit. So I feel like that was something, maybe he just had cheap or good dental insurance through work or something. So that didn't bother him was probably the answer to that question. But I do feel like, what also I'm remembering too. Do you remember, again, there just must have been something in the zeitgeist about this, some sort of fucking super PAC or something behind it. Because do you remember those things they would give out at school that were like, they gave you those little red tablets? And you would eat them, and the idea was they would highlight the tartar on your
supposedly.
teeth. Yeah, so, and I remember being fascinated by those. So that was something I remember bringing home. So again, the idea that the schools are just giving shit out like that, there must have just been some money behind that.
I was going to say, I'm sure that was definitely just part of like a campaign of like, hey, dental industry lobbying, like, we got to let these kids know.
Or just Crest. They probably gave out Crest fucking kid Crest packets with it or something too.
We definitely had those.
So, they give you the tablets. Those are cool, fun. Now I look at the Crest kids shit. Give me that too, Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. That just made me
often with a candy cane. So at the same time, it's like, here, have some sugar. See me later.
And this will definitely cue those little red tablets to really look like your teeth are fucked up. So you should buy more toothpaste. Yeah. That's like a loop of dental industry subsidy. Next is a Kemco Seika Ditty that landed at Christmas, and this is a strategy game with PC roots, Civil War themes, and as with all Kemco Seika titles, it's dressed up pretty well. It's certainly not a common occurrence with PC titles porting over to consoles in the early 90s for it to like look and feel good. But yeah, there are some certain action aspects here. There's like a train storming, train robbery action sequence that you can do. But in the overall, it's a strategy game, kind of, Civilization-esque or Nobunaga's Ambition kind of thing, where you're like fighting over territory, Civil War style, and a lot of cool animations to kind of accent battle victories and stuff happening in it. So, it's an area that this podcast's exploration of the formative years of U.S. gaming is just never going to dive into, unfortunately, because it's just too much friction to play a game like this on NES. Yeah. But I think this would have been one of the better ones, is my guess, at the time, before you had that aversion in place. You know what I mean? It's $44.95 MSRP for a 2 meg cart, and they give it a 76%, which again is pretty glowing for this type of game. I think I feel like they knock these strategy games a lot because of the format, So they even give it a banger hair standing on end 5 in challenge, which again you don't see 5s for this kind of game very often. There are then 14 fucking pages devoted to one of those terrible Flying Warriors comics from Culture Brain, and these are really bad.
Why are there so many? Why are there so many? Like, at first I'm like, okay, we've like had these before. Then I was like, it's still going. It's still
going because it's building up to what has now finally happened, and seeing this made me realize and think to check. The game is finally out. It dropped in February, dude. And like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I was like, again, we haven't seen these for a while, so I'm like, have fucking you played this yet? And I fired it up, and as soon as I fired it up, I was like, nope, haven't fucking played this. This is totally fucking new to me. And did you play it?
Yes.
Okay. So they start off, it's title sequence, and like, you can feel immediately, I felt anyways, that they are trying so hard to make this feel epic. You know what I mean? And like big and like this huge release. And like, it's like the same thing as the comic. Like there's all this effort, but it's just hollow. It's just like a bare hollow container. You know, it's like a big container with nothing in it. You know,
they want to get you hype.
Right.
This is hype.
Yep. There's a story slideshow that ensues. After some rather, like, you hit start and there's some really befuddling menu shit you got to deal with. That was a super weird choice, I think, for a game startup thing. So that fucking sucked. And then you get into it, and it's some kind of fighting game, which I did not even kind of expect at all. I couldn't even really figure out, I don't know, maybe my controller was fucked up or something, but I couldn't figure out how to do the training session.
Yeah.
Even it's like it has the controller on screen, and it's like showing you what buttons to hit, so they know it's hard.
Like, am I following you? I'm following.
Right.
I'm pressing what you're pressing.
Yeah, but that dude, my Shingen was Shingen was kicking
shenanigans.
Yeah, kicking the fuck out of Rick, which is a great protagonist name. I'll give him that. It's cool. The protagonist name is Rick. I like that. But yeah, I could not even get through the training thing. It looped and made me do it again. And I was like, nope, that's not going to happen. The graphics did look kind of good, though, of that training thing. You know, not a lot's happening on that screen, so maybe the in-game stuff is not quite on par with what that is. But if it is just like an arena fighter, probably not, because the backgrounds are going to be static.
I mean, Culture Brain out here really trying to give you a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
Kind of like the modern Mortal Kombats do, so that you want to play their fighter.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Maybe it's playable. Moby calls it an RPG. Moby Games. So there must be some character development shit going on, and that is
that good. Just feels like a lot, dude. Like, what, man? It feels like such an investment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was exactly, investment is the way to put it too. Because like I felt like I saw all this. And like I said, had the friction firing it up. Like, I think I've just been burned too much by these shiesty comics to trust putting in the time to find out if there is something here. You know what I mean? So
sadly, yes.
Yeah. Yes. The music is actually all right, though. In some places, anyways, I went through the G. Blair library to get a feel for that. And the Stage 3 theme was my track choice for this episode. ISOH Game App Up Gauntlet 2 is next, and Andromedia is hot on this shit. He gives it a 92% fucking searing rating, dude.
Fire.
4s in graphics and gameplay, 5s everywhere else. And it's a 3 meg cart with a $54.95 MSRP. That's expensive as fuck for an NES game. And yeah, man, we just did a whole episode on it. If you really want to hear our fucking opinions on this repetition fucking extravaganza. Good for multi, but yeah, just not enough there as a one-player game to be 92%.
So if you're playing with like your friends and you're hanging out, having a good time.
If you got your satellite fired, if you got your satellite real battery, you got a full Duracells in there. Your was it 6? I think. So the fucking C-cell Duracell batteries are all fired up, and you guys can sit and jam on it together for a long time. That's probably fun, but...
And you don't have school the next day? You can stay up late? Oh,
right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because, there's a fucking 100 levels, so you better better have some time. Mom better not be sitting
got pizza on the way. Here's a Domino's. There's a Pizza Hut.
Yeah. But yeah, again, 92% is... Woo! That's a lot. Moving into Genesis Pro Views, we are first given a whole 2 pages on Sega of America's new Joe Musashi ninja options, Shadow Dancer, And yes, this is the new Shinobi joint, and I got pretty fired up for it last GamePro and said we should wait until we get some more coverage for it. So now we have that. But it's good. I would also play this
straight
game.
80s, like straight 4s.
Which is, I feel like graphics in particular, I feel like should be 5. But
yeah, graphics are pretty great.
If you're going to give Yonoid 5 for graphics, for fuck's sake, this should probably be a 5 too, but whatever. Again, probably different reviewers. And it's a 4 meg cart, and withheld MSRP, of course, because it's Sega of America. They don't tell you prices. They want you to go to the store and just blindly be ready to buy it. So that's that. But yeah, I would also play this for our video game retro video game podcast, Jay.
Interesting.
The Genesis 3-banger library ad features Strider after that, starbursting at us about the fact EGM named it the 1990 Game of the Year.
Oh, EGM.
Yeah.
Oh, if EGM said, I mean,
yeah. Well, I think we both gave it. We gave it. That was a double blessing.
Yes,
that
after a terrible non-blessing on the Nintendo version.
Yeah. That intriguing Namco Powerball fictitious sports game ad is after that, and that's still kind of. I still feel like that's something. It's a crazy thing to game up, but it's something I want to know more about, and I think also maybe play head to head. I feel like that's something we should put on our. Actually, yeah. Let me fucking time out. Let me put that on our couch co-op to be fucking whatever. Then Sword of Sodan, an Electronic Arts side-scrolling fantasy thing we've already sadly come to learn is not good. And EA isn't afraid of MSRP, so they tell us that at least. It's $49.95, so at least it's cheap for
so bad.
A Genesis game. And CT Aslan delusionally gives it an 88%. That's a get a fucking grip situation.
Graphics I can see.
Right, exactly. It looks good when it's not moving. It looks great, but the second you start moving that guy around, it's fucking terrible. So it's it's a PC port. So
gameplay is no way. It's gameplay at 5. I disagree. Right. I disavow these ratings.
Yeah, yeah, that's not a good one. And then after that comes a Renovation Products ad and probably paid for placement preview for Gaieres, a day after Christmas release back in December. Was when that came out. And that's a weird day to release a game, I think, the day after Christmas. I thought that was interesting, the 26th. But this is a side-scrolling sci-fi space shmup. And what the fuck does that word mean, Gaieres? You ask?
I did not look it up.
Yeah, I didn't either. Or rather, I did, because I did ask that question as well. And the title combines Gaia, which means Mother Earth, and the suffix less, and then res. I don't know if that's like the Japanese. I don't know. I didn't know what to make of that. I was going to Google further. Or actually, I did try briefly to see if it was Japanese. I don't think it is, but whatever the case, it combines those two things because the game's plot is the Earth has been lost to pollution in the far future. So it's a dystopian type situation. And the ad for this is fan-fucking-tastic. It is pictured as Jamie Bunker, professional gamer, we are told. And Jamie is probably 16 years of age-ish. He's sporting a red-branded Renovation sweatshirt. He's got a nice 10-carat thin gold-braided rope chain hanging around his neck. And he's got some dirt on his upper lip, trying to sport the beginnings of his fucking puberty, badge of honor, mustache, and then a full-blown mullet. Full-blown mullet. And Jamie holds the game box up with an apprehensive smile. And the copy reads, "Here's one game that really smokes," as a tagline, and they go on to say, "When Jamie says Gaieres really smokes, we believe him. That's because Jamie's been a professional game tester since he was 12. And when we introduced Jamie to the 8 meg power and 3-way scrolling graphics of Gaieres, he was blown away." Why? Because Gaieres is the first of its kind to offer universal action, outrageous sound, plus a sidekick probe that terrorizes enemy ships by stealing their firepower, then returns so you can blow them out of oblivion. Which is not, you blow them into oblivion, not out of oblivion, right?
Yeah, I'm like, you blow them out of oblivion?
Yeah, anyways. Tomato, I'm sure. So before you buy the next game for your Sega system, see what the pros go for, then go for Gaieres. And Dr. Dave, who is manning the review on the following page, awards this a 100, Jay. A fucking 100%. All 5s. And I don't believe we've seen that. So that's a statement. That's a fucking statement. And it's priced accordingly. It's a $69.95 MSRP. It is an 8 meg cart.
$70.
It's a lot of fucking dough
Genesis
for a
game.
space shmup. For a space shmup too, like a fucking not an RPG. Like you see there, Phantasy Star was $70, but Phantasy Star 2 is fucking Phantasy Star 2. That's like you're gonna play that game for 40 hours.
That's a lot.
This one I haven't played it to the end, of course, but I feel like it's probably not 40 hours.
No.
And the copy Dr. Dave lays down just tells us that it's 8 levels long, which again doesn't sound like 40 hours, and that it's a fucking badass. That it's just badass. Go get it. So that lines up with his fucking hundreds. So, okay, Renovation, let's play your perfect space shmup. And, dude, it's fucking good. It's fucking really good. It is really good. Like, you can tell right away, the prologue slideshow and music that, I don't know, I've been saying it, man, like, I can't believe I lived the lie of the Sega Genesis
Space Shmups are terrible.
Just had no idea that the shooters on this game or in the system were so fucking incredible. But you can immediately feel the 90s Genesis heat when you turn it on. Like the music and the presentation just immediately feels like, ooh, fuck, this is like tactile. You can fucking feel the goodness. And yeah, it looks good. It sounds good. There's a ton of effort towards story. Maybe even too much. The fucking slideshow getting into the game is like, okay, man, it's a shooter. Let's go. Let's go shoot some shit. Fuck. But yeah, they have like a lot of really great. It is anime style, I'm not a fan of that, but it's very well done pixel art. And the lead bad antagonist is actually a female antagonist. You don't see that a lot, but her name is ZZ Badnusty, which is a fucking great name. So I like that. And the music on this, like I said, is absolutely good fucking music. Fire.
Good music, yeah.
Yeah, dude, you like start that first level and you like go through that tunnel. It even like makes you do that build up feeling of like, when's the fucking stage gonna start? It's sending you through that tunnel, So it does I think that's a good, slower maybe than you'd expect a shooter to be getting rolling, but it does create a lot of anticipation, which is good. So that's interesting. And yeah, dude, you get going, man, and the movement is fucking fantastic. The enemies are all doing cool shit. There's fucking power-ups happening right away, and when you can start and you can't do it right at the beginning, but once you're able to start scrolling vertically too, like, oh my god, that is like a whole, it's just, I couldn't believe how, I don't know, just different feeling that felt, because you don't get that with these shooters, dude. You were in like this tunnel thing always, and you're basically die if you hit the top or bottom. And in this, when you can start scrolling, it is a little fucked that you can't see what's there. And I definitely got murked a few times in that asteroid section on the first stage because I couldn't see that there was a fucking asteroid right there. You know what I mean? So you got to learn how to maybe feel that out and not just go barreling into the off-screen areas. But the idea of having that vertical bandwidth to work with and have to be forced into using it because the way the attack patterns are happening are steering you towards having to use it and not just fucking shooting everything very easily. All to me felt really good, man. I thought it was a very, very, very good shooter. I thought.
Look at you. Who would have thought when we started this podcast long ago that you would ever
all
change
grows
your
up
mind?
All grows up. It's all grows up.
Yeah, I mean, you know me. I like flying shooters. It's a good one.
Okay.
I would not agree with all freaking fives, but
fives is a lot.
It's good.
I mean, you're probably supposed to look at these ratings within the genre. You know what I mean? Like it's you
like
can't.
If you're going to get a flying shooter, you can't go wrong with this one.
Right. So yeah, I think it's just there's just no way you can look at it like, okay, the graphics and sound of fucking a space shmup on the Genesis compared to the fucking the same thing in a RPG on the NES. There has to be some compartmentalization of these ideas. So I think if you accept that, maybe it can be understood. and agreed with. But yeah, it's very eye catching to see all reds on one of those meters for sure. I was like, fucking the J.R. Smith meme, you fucking like squinting his eyes, you know. And then Musashi is also here, a half page of review, and this is Seismic's top-down sci-fi shmup. It's got some wild cinematics and a cool transformer mechanic we both liked the vibe of when we played it, I believe, last GamePro.
Owned too.
But they give that a 92%, which is, you know, nothing to shake a stick at. So some pretty fire shooters coming at us here. And then we have a couple ads before we get to our lone SMS preview, a Namco full pager for some Pac-Man Game Boy shit, and then a game from Meldak, which is a company I don't recall having seen before. And I think, to me, I read it as Meldak, like I think that's the planet Alpha's from. Right. Is what I thought when I saw that.
Max, so close, but
not quite. And this game is called Zombie Nation, and it came out in December. Somehow flew under our holiday radar, our holiday mag radar, rather. And the ad is kind of cool. It's styled as a newspaper article about zombie hordes attacking the U.S. on December 13th, 1999. And it's got some fun artwork. The zombies are like I think a good mashup of like realistically gross body horror and also kind of like a comedy.
Claymation.
Right. Claymation-y thing. Right. Precisely. So yeah, I thought that was a cool art style that intrigued me. And so I go to fire this up and it's the absolute last title in the NES library that I have. 843 NES games I have in my RetroArch, and it's the absolute last one alphabetically sorted. So, to an 8 or 10 BB stacker like me, that was a very significant thing. But, so yeah, I fired this up, and did you fucking play this, dude?
No, I actually don't have it, which is weird, so I didn't even play it.
Okay.
I did not.
It's which, I don't know, man, I did not expect to have a side-scrolling shmup happen to me when I looked at this ad. That was not at all
what I thought.
Are you
flying? Like, what
yes.
Are you doing?
You are a disembodied... You control... This game is fucking nuts, dude. You control a disembodied samurai head. Like a samurai ghost head. Which I didn't read the story. I don't know why it's a samurai. No fucking idea. What? I think they might have mentioned it in that copy.
Oh, it says strange samurai head.
You're right, but it doesn't explain why it's a samurai head, you know.
I don't think that means that would be me. I think I'm killing that.
Right, exactly. It would be coming. No, that is the protagonist, or that's who you control. I guess I don't know if you're the bad guy or not. I'm not sure. But it looks like it was very Rampagey. It looks like Rampage and kind of the same mechanic where you can blow up the buildings and they don't fall like Rampage, but you do you can shoot like every part of it, and that's how you are able to easily pass through them, I think. Otherwise, they act as impediments to your movement on screen as the thing scrolls. So you're behooved to clear that space out for yourself to give you room to deal with, shit coming at you. And that's an interesting mechanic, I think. And yeah, dude, you're also killing and eating what looked like people, but I guess those are zombies. So I think maybe you're trying to, I don't know, man. I had a real hard time understanding what I was doing story-wise. But here's the crazy thing, dude. It felt really good. It was it looks
so weird.
It is so weird, but it felt so good. And yeah, man, I played that whole first stage and I was like, I want to play more of this. Holy shit. When I first turned it on, I was like, oh God. It looks like I felt like I was looking at like Ghostbusters 2, which is a terrible game, and you get going and like the controls and shit all very good. I was very confused. It was a very confusing experience. Emotionally, physically, it was very, very befuddling.
So weird.
So yeah, that was that is a perfect example of again the left field shit that can happen to you doing this podcast. Like the ad looks like Meldak. What the fuck is that?
It looks like nothing. Like what are we doing?
Right, here? Precisely. Yeah, it looks like something. I didn't even. That was why I sent you like 9 versions of the outline. Was because I blew right past this. It didn't even.
Yeah, I thought it was like an ad at first.
It is an ad, but
I mean, but not a real game.
An ad that didn't matter, right? Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, just a really big surprise of an experience. So the aforementioned token SMS Pro view here is for Moonwalker, the post-Genesis release SMS backporting that they do for that Sega's doing at this time, which is. whatever about that. Well, they try to give it the business with fucking 2 whole pages too. So they're trying to give Mike his due, I guess.
But look at the fun factor, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, Andromedia, that's the reviewer. He lobbies some rather harsh criticism in the first pro tip, I think, but then drops a bomb I did not know was possible. So it's hard to get Michael to do exactly what you want him to do with the Master System controller, particularly when he goes downstairs. Try using a Genesis controller for better control. Just remember you won't need one of the buttons at all. So that means you can plug your Genesis controllers into the SMS, which I did not know.
That was a thing.
Me either. And here's the interesting thing is I did know this. You can plug Genesis controllers into an Atari 2600 and use the gamepad for movement and one of the buttons for your one button on a 2600 joystick. So this had me thinking, are Genesis controllers the greatest invention of the 20th century?
It sounds like it. I didn't even know.
Yeah. Right, yeah. It's literally capable of controlling anything. Any game system, a Genesis controller will work for. So yeah, that blew my mind to read that. So that was interesting, but it is, of course, not good to hear that the stairs are shitty and controls are shitty in a game for an action platformer. That's not a good combo.
No.
They do have some Mike music, though, and you can bet your sweet ass we're going to listen to some of that right now. Can't get enough Beat It in my life, no matter how degraded the sound quality of it may be. And yeah, I wonder, like listening to that, like it's still good. Like I said, I'll listen to it any day. But I wonder if Mike exhibited some apprehensions about chip tuning his cranks down to the 8-bit level. Like it was probably already enough of a creative concern for him to put it into the Genesis sound chip, the 16-bit level, when they were like, okay, now let's do this for an 8-bit system and really fucking beep boop bop this shit. I wonder if he was like,
I'm sure he was probably just like, more kids can hear my music.
Right, yeah, he was super positive. Yeah,
well, they played their games.
Yeah. Whatever the case,
heal the world through the Sega Genesis.
Yeah, I listened to that whole soundtrack. I went and found it on YouTube, and I was like, which one of these do I want to use for a music drop here? And, of course, Beat It was the obvious choice. But I let the whole soundtrack play. It's like a 20-minute thing. I listened to the whole thing, I just let it play in the background while I did my notes.
Nice.
So I did that with the Genesis one, too. It's just his music is so fucking good, it's unbelievable, no matter what the form it may be in. So that's good. But, yeah, the game, not so hot. Andromedia ultimately lands at 64% for it, because why the fuck would you play this with the Genesis one out right now, unless your parents hated you too much to upgrade your life from the SMS to the Genesis, of course. His copywriting goes on to say at the end, unfortunately, Michael's magic, the gorgeous graphics, and the nifty tunes just don't make up for the baddest, he put in quotations, part of the game, trying to get punny on you. It's just too easy. But hey, if, again, quotations, if you want to be starting something, more Mike lyrics, with Michael, you may find the games a thriller anyway. After these messages.
We'll be right back.
Cool. Crazy. Insane. Beautiful. Awesome. Me. Quantifiers. Wow. It's hype. Definitely fresh.
It's colorful.
Most excellent.
Graphic. Nuclear. Cool. Awesome. Big. Graphical.
This new game is excellent. Better than hanging out with your buds, chilling with the girls.
Better than a mall. Pizza.
Better than having a party at your house when your parents are gone.
Mom's a cool rat.
Bodacious.
That is a 1991 Kabuki Quantum Fighter commercial, and it's just kids, maybe some young adults also, sitting in front of a wall of tube TVs, providing their deep well of insight into the game. Just one-word little quips. And in the event you're only listening, you might be surprised to hear that the mullet kid count stops at a mere 2 mullets in that video. There's only 2 of them. So if you were hoping for more, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Our 2 T16 Pro views are both action puzzlers in this issue, and while it's a genre that gets my attention, I'm only bringing up the first one because it's a port of an NES classic. Bomberman. And that is a very, very early NES title from Hudson Soft that is revered by many, but I've always struggled to enjoy it because it's just so damn basic looking that I can't get into it. And this is a huge upgrade visually in the screenshots. So I was like, oh, I'll give this a try. And yeah, man, I know you're not fucking with the T16 games, but this, I mean, NEC, Hudson Soft, there's a fucking, I think it's even the same company, if I recall correctly. So no surprise that they, were able to really embrace the hardware and fucking dial it up. But man, oh my God, it's the exact same game, which is a great mechanic.
It's a great
like
game,
setting the bombs and going around the corner and whatever. But visually in every possible way, like there's cool cutscenes, there's a map screen, the gameplay itself is a fucking million times better looking, the music is better, and yeah, Bomberman enthusiasts must acquire. If you're a Bomberman guy, I would say this is a great fucking rendition of it. Riffraff, the reviewer, gives it an unjust 68%. I think that's bullshit. Fuck that guy. But it's again, if you enjoy the original on the NES and have never played a dialed up version, this is the one to go find, I think. Always some gems in that T16 shit, dude. That's one of the things I love most about fucking going through this is just having that shit pop into my fucking periphery and be like, oh, give it a try. And I'm like, oh shit, this is a great game. There's a million of them. Being so excluded from that library as a kid. They have a notable Game Boy Pro View on 74, Operation C via Konami, and Gideon gives it an 88%. Again, 5s in graphics, sound, and fun. So, perfect example we were saying earlier. Like, you're going to give any Game Boy game a 5. Obviously, we're playing in a different sandbox here. And I don't think I've ever played the Game Boy version of this, but we like Contra here at the ISH podcast, so it's probably good. Probably fun.
Yeah. I can't remember if I played it or not, but it looks familiar. I just don't remember. Like, I definitely had a random smattering of Game Boy games when I had my Game Boy back in the day.
Yeah, I'm surprised, like, Contra's so, I don't know, just synonymous with Nintendo stuff that I can't believe at least one of my friends didn't have it and I didn't try it. And like, I know I've never played that game. I'm surprised I didn't get the fucking ROM and try it for this. I need to do that, actually. But this is all just filler in the build-up to what we all came for this ep. Jay's Atari Corner. And it is Fatal Run from Atari. And, the company, the myth, the legend. And tell us about Fatal Run, Jay.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to do this. This game is so old. They're hate, like... It's a racing game. Like, it's not a great racing game. I mean... I didn't even consider it for our musical section, which hurts my soul to think about because there's so many other things, and obviously I was biased. I got two.
Is that the one? Was it what category?
Oh yeah, the sad is just the sound was just number one, just sad.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't even seen a one before, so yeah, I chuckled when I saw that too.
Yeah, I mean it's just.
Yeah, the meter is like a rainbow. You never see that much variance either, I feel, in the scores. It's funny looking.
Like, the only thing that is the highlight here is the gameplay. It's like, yeah, once you're actually racing out there, it's not bad. It's not bad, but everything else is just, it's not worth pulling out your Atari 7800 unless that's all you got, unfortunately.
Fanatic Fan gives it a 60% on the meter that I said is like, yeah, it looks like a rainbow. And MSRP is only $14.99. So for $15, 60% probably isn't a terrible value proposition. At least you can say that for it as well. So
I mean, yeah, if mom got me this and I still didn't have a Nintendo at the time, like,
sure, I mean, dude, there's not even a Game Boy game that comes close to that MSRP. Like, the cheapest Game Boy game is $24.99. So the fact that it's like half of that for a home console is just, it's a brutal economic place that Atari is existing in at this point,
Yeah, Atari.
SWAT is next. Teased to us on the cover. And yeah, I thought this was going to be a total boring lost cause going through it. It's just sound tests and just nothing really that cool. Until the very end, there is a Genesis Strider hack that gives you unlimited lives. And this is one of those deals. I feel like I've seen this one other time at some point, probably in GamePro, I would guess, because I feel like this is something Sega wouldn't be comfortable telling you to do. But it's, You have to put the Altered Beast cart in your system, your Genesis, turn the system on, wait until the title screen appears for Altered Beast, and then commit the cardinal sin of ripping a cart out of the system without turning the power off first. And then, with the system still on, you put Strider in, then hit the reset button, and then when you begin the game, like Strider supposedly will fire up normally after you hit reset, and then when you begin the game, the life counter will be at 9, and it will remain that way no matter how many times you get fragged playing the 1990 EGM Game of the Year.
What?
So, yeah, it's one of those just insane who the fuck came up with
like,
this.
how did you figure that out?
Yeah, how did you figure that out?
Why did you do that?
Right,
what
right,
state
right.
were you in that you just ripped the cartridge out?
right. And then, popped in Strider and even, I feel like it's something like, even say that crazy flowchart happens in your life, right? You're pissed off, you rip it out, you put Strider in. Just the simple fact of playing the games Altered Beast and then Strider in subsequent order with being frustrated enough. Altered Beast was so easy. Such an easy game. The idea of being pissed off enough at Altered Beast to rip the guy out of the system is bananas.
Okay, this is what I'm thinking. Based on the stories that you've told me, you were so pissed at your little brother for putting Altered Beast in. That was a little baby, little kid game. So you just ripped it out and just put it in Strider.
Maybe. Okay, that's a good theory.
Reset.
That's a good theory that it's an attack on your little brother, not or a commandeering of your little brother's life, not necessarily anger towards the Genesis itself. Okay, yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that. Yeah, but
then all of a sudden you're like, look. Wait, no, I can't take it out. I'm sorry, but look, I got ultimate. I got
right. But that's the thing. Like, I feel like the idea of say all that happens, the idea that you would notice that your lives are unlimited seems to me rather slim. Right. I mean, if your life kind of
unless you just started dying immediately, you know
right?
What I mean?
Which is possible in Strider. That game's not easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like a really tough thing to get through flowchart wise to be able to convey this, So I said I feel like I've seen that hack before, and I also feel like last time it was Altered Beast was the keystone cart for it too.
Yeah,
so
Keystone has the master code somehow.
Right. So fucking I was like, this is worth a Google. So I started looking around, and sure enough, there are whole forum threads about what one called Genesis yank the cart tricks. So it's like a
Oh, it's a known thing?
Yeah, it's a class of things
Whoa.
that exist. And yeah, Altered Beast is definitely the most frequently cited keystone cart too. So there's something in the Altered Beast code that's magical. And I'll drop the link. It was actually an Atari Age thread, funny enough, was the website that I got most of my data from for this. So I'll drop the link to that in the show notes if you want to pull it up and look at some of them. But yeah, they're fucking a number of games you can fucking do all sorts of shit with and get crazy little, essentially Game Genie hacks by doing this. If you want to throw caution to the wind with your Genesis hardware, that's actually something worth looking up too. Whether there is, because that's kind of. I don't know if I've ever seen any data that proves that that's actually potentially harmful to the hardware or the software. You know what I mean? So, I guess the hardware for the software in that case. You're not worried about fucking up the software actually, but just fucking up the chip that it's on. So yeah, I don't have any data whether that's actually harmful, and I guess that would be a fun article to look up as well to see if it's the case. I will try to remember to do that too in my never-ending list of research projects to do for the Imperial Schools of Honor podcast. Ask the Readers this month is an all 8-bit RPG all the time situation with Crystallis and the first Phantasy Star on the SMS, and I LOL'd pretty hard at this Phantasy Star queue. Jesse Wilson in Redwood City, California writes, Dear Ask the Pros, I've had Phantasy Star for the Sega Master System for about 2 years now. I think it's a great RPG, but it would be an even better game if I could just get off Palma. Like, if I could just get somewhere in this game, it would be way fucking better. Please help me. And yeah, I couldn't help but LOL at that when I read it. Especially, you didn't play that one, but it is, it's an RPG, dude. And there's some friction in it, for sure. So that was a little bit of a chuckle. And then the Ask the Readers deal over on the right has a prompt for TMNT calling back its difficulty from earlier on the NES, and yeah, it made me feel very seen to read this. Kathy Kui Kathy Coy in Hardy, Louisiana writes, Dear Ask the Pros. This is the first time I ever wrote to a pro for help because I never needed help from anyone. So, okay, Kathy, with your big swinging dick. She goes on to say, I can't get to Shredder in the original TMNT from Ultra for the NES. I'm in the Technodrome, but I can't get past those flying dudes that shoot lasers. Can you please, with a cherry on top, help me? And the reason the GamePros are pushing this query off onto readers instead of answering it them fucking selves is because in 1991, there is no fucking answer to this question. The answer is you have to say scum your fucking ass off through that tight tunnel approach to Shredder in 2024 with RetroArch. Because, yeah, that's literally that ever-constricting tunnel with the guys that fly. And we did eventually learn the ducking thing, and you can get through it without getting harmed, but I feel like there had to be so much trial and error.
So hard.
Or rather, I had so much trial and error via Save Scum to learn that. Learning that in the loop of having to go back to whatever the fuck you go back to if you're fucked, and lose a turtle there.
Keep practicing, Kathy. Keep practicing.
Yeah, that's the answer. So yeah, that's why they didn't want to answer it, because there wasn't an answer. So I thought that was kind of shitty of them to try to push that off onto readers. instead of you want to call yourself the Game Pros, motherfuckers. You better be the pros and have the answer to the tough questions. That's how I feel about walking around wearing that hat.
Fair enough. That's a fair point.
We then move into short pro shots, and it has absolutely nothing worth talking about that we haven't already addressed. Yeah. So moving right along to the Pro News Report. And EA has a news drop here early announcing some of their affiliated developers that publish under EA will be bringing shit to the Genesis. And we were talking about it earlier. So yeah, Might and Magic 2 is a really well-regarded PC RPG franchise that I've never really fucked with. So I can picture the box too. It's got a really cool box cover, this one. And it's like, I don't know, some kind of fucking ghoul or something, like big gangly arms. And yeah, I've always wanted to change that fact that I've never really fucked with the Might and Magic, so you can expect to to have that enter our side quest chat once it drops. And then they also mentioned the inception of the Road Rash franchise, and those are fucking great. The first two in particular are just absolutely fucking great games that I cannot wait to drop to get some game app action on. I don't know. Did you ever play those? Have we talked about those?
No, I don't think so.
They're like motorcycle racing games with battle mechanics. So you ride up alongside other players and fucking hit them with sticks and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also cops in it. So if you're speeding, which of course you want to be, it's a racing game. You can get pulled over by cops, but you can kick the shit out of the cops. Yeah, which is fucking great. So yeah, it's a really cool, very rebellious feeling early Genesis game that I look forward to fucking with a little bit.
Nice.
There is some more Genesis licensee heating up news. A little later on, they mentioned that NES stalwarts Data East and Taito are bringing titles to the system, and the biggest mention in here, specific title-wise, is the sequel to your very first game app, Rostan. That excites me a great deal. I've never played any of them other than that first one in the arcade and then on the SMS when we did the game app. So both of those were outstanding, I thought. And I look forward to playing a sequel. That's exciting. They also mentioned Adventures of Lolo 3 getting a little shout out in the Bits and Bobs blurb. That's just a whole bunch of shit real quick hitters. And they call it more complex than the first two games. We are assured. So that's, I don't know if it needs it. I thought the first two were pretty complex. I don't have any complaints about them, but sure. Puzzle game, more complex. Okay. That's exciting. And the last one that meant anything to me was FCI is continuing their role-playing ways by announcing Pools of Radiance for their D&D series, and then another Ultima for the Game Boy. And Pools of Radiance was a PC game they brought over to NES and part of their Gold Box series. And those are really well-revered PC games that I enjoyed as a kid. So I can't remember if the NES ones are good. Yeah, if the NES ones are good or not. It's FCI, so probably not. Given their port of Ultima 3, but maybe they're good. So maybe that also enters the side quest chat later on. Did any of this shit? Was there any SNES shit I skipped over that you might have got excited about?
Nah, not yet.
Word. So then we are moving into our closing ad lineup, and it is a quiet, no accompanying mag covers full pager from Acclaim for Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, and then also a new one from Ultra for Ski or Die. And yeah, I mean, we haven't even played Double Dragon 2 yet for a game app, which I feel like is an eventual inevitability, one way or another. So I feel like hold your fucking horses, Acclaim, bringing this shit at us already. I feel like it was less than a year ago, mag timeline-wise, that we got 2. So fucking slow to your roll, man.
I played all the way through 2. Like, I think just seeing it come through, the mags.
Sure.
And so I played all the way through it, like, no problem. But 3 is definitely the much more fun one. Like, I instinctively jump over them and do the head grab and toss, like, because that's the most fun new technique that wasn't in 2. Like 3, it's hard though. Like 3 is definitely hard, but it is.
Well, they say
sure fave.
It's twice the characters and 3 times the action, Jay. So I mean, what do you expect?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, dude, I'm not even sure that I've ever played 3.
I was gonna say I would assume you hadn't ever played it.
It's tough because I also feel like, again, they were released so close timeline-wise, so that kind of jumbles it up a little bit, probably in my mind anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But also, for that reason, I don't feel like visually they look that different. So it's hard for me to differentiate whether or not I might have played 3 as well, because in my mind it could just be 2, So
yeah.
Either way, I feel like before we can even begin to talk about 3 as a game app option, excuse me, we need to get 2 out of the way. So
really,
yeah,
really.
I guess not. I mean, I'll listen to arguments otherwise, but that was kind of my feeling. Because again, if you feel, I guess I would defer to your expertise on the matter. Perhaps then, is 3 close enough to 2 that we can just skip 2 and play 3 and just get a better experience of the same thing, or is there enough of a because we played the first one now, so like again, these franchises, especially the big ones, we want to kind of work our way through the development of the situation.
Again, because I have played through 2, maybe even twice. Like, I think I might have done it on like Nintendo Switch Online with the NES controller, and then through this. I just know for me, like, I got so excited playing 3. In preparation for this, it was like, oh yeah, this one is so much more fun. Like, I forgot how fun this one is. Like, this is, It's just, it's that versus like the initial thinking of 2 when I first booted it up, thinking like, all right, here we go again. Like, I've played this a cajillion times. So that's just my own personal.
Okay, well, I can again, because they're so close now, I can even find justification, in our scientific justification for jumping right to 3, because there can't be that much of a difference in the actual kernel.
But it's tough because I'd want to play it like 2-player anyway. So it's just like it's tough enough that I would like have to Game Genie straight up by myself 1 player. So it's got all kind of feelings about
it.
Intense.
That's an intense statement to say that you couldn't even get good at it, huh? Okay.
I mean, I tried it twice and I died on the same spot twice. I was like, dude, what? Like, all right. Like,
yeah. I think you're looking at that from a little bit of a modern gamer perspective. Dying twice is nothing in the NES era, bro.
I know, but just kind of like, it made me sad that I died. Like, even the second playthrough went way better at first, but still, like, I was surrounded. I was like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, not that is representative of my future gameplay potential.
Sure. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Yeah, of course.
Exactly. It just kind of gave me pause. It kind of had me like humble for a bit. Like, okay, if I play this, I'm gonna actually like have to like focus and not fuck around.
Well, yeah. Again, my especially on the fucking NES, side-scrolling fucking beat 'em ups not my first thing, but I get the significance of the franchise. So,
but you know what's weird though? Like, I forgot. Because of where we are in the timeline, in my mind, Double Dragon 3 was always on the Super Nintendo. And, like, it's not. Like, I think there's definitely Super Double Dragon on the Super Nintendo and things like that. But in my mind...
Did they not also release this on 3 too, though? Or, sorry, did they also not release 3 on the SNES? I feel like that's entirely possible.
I don't think so. I think it's just Super Double Dragon, and then they did Super, like, Double Dragon 4, I think. Because I looked at this and I'm like, oh yeah, it was on the Nintendo, and it was, like, one of the best, because I was, like, one of the last ones on Nintendo. But in my mind, because of it, so late, like you said in the timeline, I just assume it's on the Super Nintendo, but it's not.
Huh. Well, either way, it sounds like there's more to talk about there, and I understand if we have to do so. So the Ski or Die ad has one of Konami's extreme 90s poetry write-ups on it, like they do. There was a really good one for TMNT not too long ago. But I don't feel this one's on par with that, so I won't keep us here with a public reading of it or anything. So let us just talk Power Meter Cume and nominations.
The Mission 1 Part 1 theme from Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones. Bring us into the final section, Josh.
Our Power Meter Cume is a 79.71% aggregate rating for the issue. That is a smidge.
Very high.
It's not very high, but it's a smidge higher than the rolling GamePro average of 79.06%. So a little better above average issue, which, like I said, reading the cover, I had fears would not be the case. So that was a pleasant surprise. And nominations. It's been so long, I think you went second because that's how we ended up on G.I. Joe, I think, is that you kind of conceded to it at the end of your thing. So maybe you go first this time around.
Yeah, I had a tough time with nominations this time. I don't know. We've seen most of these things, and so the things that we hadn't seen were not necessarily things I wanted to play for a long period of time. So I have Jackie Chan.
That's not even in here. Where was that at?
Yes, it is.
Show me where that was at.
It was an ad on like page 3. It's at the very beginning.
Okay.
Stop hating. I wouldn't just make stuff up.
That's an insane. That would be an insane ass thing to make up too.
So Jackie Chan,
just trying to plant Jackie Chan's action kung fu in every issue.
Truxton.
I put it. That's it. I don't know if you clocked. I did not put all the library titles from the Genesis ad in there. Yes. I put in Truxton just for you.
Definitely Truxton. And then Double Dragon 3.
Okay.
Double Dragon 3. I mean, like I said, I feel like that still would be a crazy thing, and I would definitely have to Game Genie it because it's tough, but it's Double Dragon 3, and I was like, oh, snap, it's available.
Okay. Well, I just kind of like de facto-ly. What was that word I said earlier?
Oh, what did you say?
Potentially or something.
We gotta go find it.
I'll have to fucking make some sort of an auditory meme of it so we can just we can soundboard it. So I put that in here just because I felt like it was, it's not the I feel like it's the cover issue game, or cover feature game, even though it's not. It is the first pro view for the NES, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of thing that's usually on the cover, So
what game?
I put that in here.
Wait, what game?
Kabuki Quantum Fighter.
Okay.
And again, the hair, it just is a good game. It's ninja options. The hair thing is interesting, And then I also have Shadow Dancer in the Genesis, so I started off pretty ninja heavy. Again, I think that probably in the Genesis, the Sega Visions we have coming out, I think it's the next issue, maybe even, or maybe after Back to Nintendo Power for one. We have it is. I think
Didn't we talk Kabuki before?
We've definitely talked about it before. Yeah, it's been I probably nominated it before. Are we going back to where's it at here? We are finally back to Sega Visions next. So I feel like Shadow Dancer, because it's a big Sega title, will probably be a huge thing in that. And, I can hear waiting for that before we really entertain that. Those are my early entries. Because, I think I have 5 that I put on here, and I didn't. Sometimes I'm compelled to pare it down after I get that many. This time I was not. The next one I have is Gaeres, which, again, just a searing space shmup that I think... I was actually going to, again, I put it on the outline, Truxton, And I was like, I'm gonna throw them for a loop and fucking put trucks into my list here, just to like take it out of the potential option list. But when I saw Gaia as another space shmup that was just off the fucking charts, I was like, I can't do that. We're gonna space shmup or space shmup rather. If that's what's going to happen after this fucking episode, we're going to do Gaia's. And then I put Zombie Nation on here because it is nuts and was mind-blowingly more fun than I could have ever guessed it would have been. And we also got, doing the posting for it, there was some corroboration from the disciples about it being a good game and people enjoying it and having the Rampage vibes. There were some posts and responses too that suggest it was a game that I was not alone in thinking was interesting and fun to play. So that one, and then my last one I put was Double Dragon 2. Again, trying to okay, I feel like if 3's out now, shit, let's get this done. But I'm willing to call that overlap and just jump to 3 also as a potential solution. Even though also I think we will have probably in the next Nintendo Power probably some pretty serious Double Dragon 3 coverage, but we also run the risk of getting some other games that force us away from doing that. So we kind of have a little bit of a slim situation going on here where we have some Double Dragon overlap, and that doesn't happen often. So I'll listen to advocating for taking that leap. If
I mean, I could definitely do. I could talk about Kabuki Fighter, and Double Dragon. I could talk about Double Dragon. I feel bad skipping 2, knowing that you haven't beat it, but it would just be like I would just be playing it to play it again. Like I wouldn't even know what I would talk about. Like I would have to be in a whole different mindset to try to talk about that game again. Like it's new and different for me.
I mean, is there a story revelation at the end that I'm fucking gonna miss out on? I feel like there probably isn't.
I don't think so. So I don't know. I'm kind of open. Like I really just nothing really jumped out at me this time. So I don't really have a strong feeling either way.
Okay.
I have a strong leaning.
Yeah, that's the tough thing for me too. Is none of these were like, ooh, it's got to be that in my mind, and I'm just putting others, which is part of why I probably didn't pare it down, is because they were all kind of on the same.
I can always play Double Dragons, but I like flying shooters, so even if it's not Truxton, I could talk about Gaia Res, you know what I mean, something different.
I feel like we'll have a hard time not enjoying that,
I mean, that sounds like a good idea. I have a hard time not enjoying
Yeah,
it.
enjoying a game. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I like that too. That's something simple and very modular that I can fucking work through. Again, trying to make it practical for my fucking real life right now. Compartmentalize stage after stage and fucking get that done in a way that's a game that's more story based is going to be fucking tougher because I'm going to be coming in and out of it with fucking work shit. So. Yeah, I kind of like the idea that, again, 100, I feel like we have to get to the bottom of whether or not that's actually true. If we're going to get our first 100, how can we turn our nose up to a magazine telling us it is a perfect video game? Yeah,
that's craziness.
I think the scientific curiosity there maybe should be the biggest catalyst for our choice here.
That's fair. That's
I
fair.
mean, if we're gonna get our first 100 ever, how can we not explore that more? Especially
I don't believe you.
It's not like it's a game Mario 3. I know that's good too. It's like a game we've never even fucking heard of. It's like, hey, it's 100. Like what? So okay, that was what's Dr. fucking Doom? What was his fucking name? Dr. Doolittle. Dr. Dave. Let's find out whether Dr. Dave's got the goods on his fucking journalistic integrity here and play Gaia-Res then. I'm down with that.
All right.
Okay. That's it. It'll be Gaia-Res. So we're going to play a little bit of Sega Genesis action to segue us to finally getting back to Sega Visions in our next mag issue. So that is exciting shit. In the meantime, you can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided by whatever dumbass company that serves up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on whatever platform of choice or whatever platform you listen to us on. If you enjoy our nonsense, the website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. Email us at isohpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the pod and banter with us on the Facebook page, the Instagram, the subreddit, and talk shit to us about our gameplay videos on the YouTube. The links to all those will be in the show notes. We do not have a Patreon, but if you like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, and want to do so in our direction. The Able Gamers Foundation creates custom gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That's cool as fuck. AbleGamers.org is where you can find them. T-shirts on their website. They're dope, and proceeds on those after pod expenses go to Able Gamers. I'm wearing one. Great. Jay is flying his fucking company flag over here with an Xbox shirt. But they're good anyways. Jay, what are your socials?
Gentleman JB without the second E. That is my gamer tag and where you can find me when I do post on the socials.
I am on Twitter at Josh Folan. I am on Instagram at MyShapeHeIsBroke. And my Oculus tag, if you want to, nothing I said with multiplayer, but if you want to try to coax me into Dungeons of Eternity, I guess maybe for some pumpkin hunting, that is the method to do that with, or the means to do that with, rather. Okay, bye!
See ya!